Hey everybody, welcome to the Last Call Whiskey Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Travis.
Hey, it's Sean, the Dark Cloud.
We are three friends from Western Canada. We love all things whiskey, and tonight we are going to try three whiskeys from new distilleries. We have the Nc'Nean Quiet Rebels, the Holyrood Ambir, and the Aberargie Inaugural Release. Let's get the show going.
Let's go whiskey podcast, the best whiskey podcast you'll ever want, probably. Let's go whiskey podcast, the best whiskey podcast you'll ever want, probably.
Sweet, let's do it.
We have a first tonight, boys. Our first, not double, triple interview.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're breaking new ground. Coordinating this was not easy, timing wise, but we have two interviews. One with Niel Hendriksz from Aberargie Distillery, and then the second interview with Rob Carpenter and Connor O'Keefe from Holyrood Distillery, back to back, three people, explaining to them how this all works and why we're waking them up at 5:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and it's all of it, and how like they got the invite for the podcast and they're like, I thought we were going at 6 a.m. Why is the invite for 4 a.m.?
Oh, yeah.
I had to explain, like, we don't just jump right on with you. We record for like an hour and a half, 2 hours first. So anyways, I think we're going to nail it.
I think it's going to be fun. It's a lot of people I talk to are surprised that we do it all live. I'm like,
really?
Yeah, we just give her.
Yeah.
Pee breaks are live.
They are live. They're like, it actually happens.
We just had Jerry. You weren't here, unfortunately. We missed you, but I had on our little sheet here. But Drams for Fams, we're already 2 weeks, Sean, post Drams for Fams.
It doesn't feel like it was 2 weeks ago. It feels like it was last 3 days ago.
Yeah, it was. 2 weeks ago tonight would have been the VIP brown bag tasting / karaoke night, and then tomorrow, 2 weeks from tomorrow, was the main event. Finally calculated all the totals. $35,000 raised for the food bank this year. So
that's awesome.
Real work, guys. That's so sick.
Super cool. Every time it happens, you're just like, Jesus.
Like, I know leading up to it, Trav, you and I talked about it, and we were kind of like, 30 grand is a admirable goal to try and get to. And then the VIP night kind of kicked it off. And I was like, man, we like
4,000.
We might get over 30 grand. And then you sent out a total a couple days after and then had to edit it.
Well, no, it's the fact of the matter is I'm not an accountant. You get all these numbers and then there's money coming in right to the charity. And there's money coming from different places. And being not an accountant, I just subtracted the income sources from the expenses, and it equaled like, I don't know, whatever it was, 32 or 31. I was like, oh, that's not bad. But then I realized that most of the expenses had already been paid, but I was still subtracting them from the main. I was like, oh, I'm such an idiot. So, anyways, $35,000 raised for the Edmonton Food Bank, and in total, 130 plus 30 is 160 plus 30, like 190 people through the doors over the weekend. So,
yeah, it is awesome.
Huge thanks. We did, for the first time ever, Pam and Chelsea from Dramfine hosted a Whiskey Women panel on the Saturday. So Jamie Johnson, the national brand ambassador for Glenfiddich and the Balvenie, as well as Caitlin Quinn from Alberta Distillers, and Reese Sims, who is with Flavor Camp. So the three of them did an event to kick things off on Saturday, and then that was pretty much sold out. I think the room felt very full. I don't know if they saw.
Oh yeah,
it felt full.
Like, I know every seat was sold, and there was like a couple people that couldn't make it last minute, whatever. But yeah, like it was sold out for sure.
Yeah, and it was really cool format. Like it was like a live interview while we sipped on whiskeys from each of the brands. And then the main event just got crazy. It was live auction town where, it was like we auctioned off a whiskey tasting and homemade donair making night, basically. It was
25 minute long presentation for it.
Our director of Donairs talked for 25 minutes about Donairs, where to buy your Donair meat, where to get your pitas. It was too long, but also quite hilarious. And I think that package raised almost $1,400 for you basically just come to my house. I'm going to pour you some whiskey. He's going to make you Donairs. That's it. That's the thing.
The fact that he has a mobile Donair spit is like the best thing ever.
Yeah. He's got his own rotation. Yeah.
Basically, he sold it as like, have you ever gone to a Donair shop and watched them carve the meat? And you've thought, I want to do that. Well, now you can.
It's unreal.
It's so good. So yeah, that's going to be a fun night. And my house is going to smell amazing.
Yeah.
The night of. We might have to cook the Donair meat on the deck. Anyways, it was awesome. Good times. Till next year. I already got like pretty much all the speakers lined up for next year already, which is very cool.
Yeah, Dark Cloud's making a return.
No, I think you're still banned, actually.
Still banned.
Yeah. That's okay.
Banned. You're a 2-year ban. And we'll
2-year ban.
Yeah.
I got a special 2-year ban.
I was laughing when I forget which chat it was in, but we were talking about Trav just banning everybody walking around. It might have been Caitlin, actually. I think it was Caitlin I was talking to.
Yeah.
She was like, Trav was banning everybody. It's like, you're banned.
I banned
You're banned.
Caitlin's banned. She's still coming back, but she's banned from presenting for 1 year.
Yeah.
Igor's banned, and he said he's still coming out. He's already put it in his calendar.
Amazing.
Yeah. You get 2 years and then you're banned for a year. But if it's for misbehave, you're banned just because 3 years in a row is too much. But if you misbehave, it might be 2 years. Like Sean, we don't even know what he did, but it's a 2-year ban for sure.
2-year ban.
I'm the only guy from the club that showed up to help set up. The only guy that showed up to tear down. I'm banned.
No, there was more for this.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
All right. Happy hour headlines. We got music for this, don't we?
We got music. Let's do it.
I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world tonight. Heroin, sex, machine guns, flamethrowers, murder. There's no story here. We've just found that ratings go up when we say those words.
Can I start?
Yeah.
Do you have Simply the Best music by Tina Turner?
I can find it.
Simply the Best. For the second time in 3 years, PWS Imports on my hat and your hat, Jer, voted Best Whiskey Agency in Canada at the Whiskey Explorer Awards. Voted. So people across the country just decided that we are the best at what we do. I think the reason why people like us is because we're not making money. They must be getting good deals. I think we're passing on the ability to make money to them, and now they like us because they're getting good whiskey at good prices. That's what I think's happening.
Good whiskey.
Probably true.
Whatever works.
Yeah. So I think if we want to keep this award, we just got to keep not making money.
What else? On top of that, there's speaking of awards, Bowmore 21 Sherry Cask, world's best single malt at the World Whiskey Awards.
I haven't tried the new one yet.
I haven't tried the new one either.
Is the 21 Sherry here?
I know the 18 is. When I say the new one, I know we had the 18 before. Did we have a Bowmore 21 here before?
I'm not sure, but like I know from the Sherry line, we got the 12, the 15, and the 18.
I think the 18's here too, yeah. So the one that's not available in Canada won world's best single malt.
Oh, I'm sure some people we know have that bottle. So
how much is it?
It's expensive.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like 350 pounds.
Yeah. Well, 21-year-old Bowmore, like.
In Sherry Cask, yeah.
But probably 43%, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Our friends down the road in Bridgeland, their Innisfail whiskey got Canada's best single pot still.
Oh.
A little quick shout out to our friends at Bridgeland.
Well deserved.
I actually posted a Bridgeland the other day. I was going through some old pictures and I found a trio of them. But how many other distilleries made it pot still whiskey in Canada? I'm not trying to knock Bridgeland. I'm very
no.
fun. How many different distilleries made one of those?
That's a fair.
Well, for sure, McAloney's does one because they've won world's best pot still before.
Okay.
If we're gonna talk McAloney's, their owner / distiller, he actually got Distiller of the Year for the world at the World Whiskey Awards.
Is it? Who are we talking about?
I didn't know that.
Is it Graham McAloney?
Yeah.
Is he still doing the distilling, or wasn't it Greg Nicholson for a bit, or the old Lagavulin guy?
Well, Graham McAloney is the one that won the award, so I hope he's doing the distilling.
Yeah. Well, he's like the face of this. He's the guy that's always reaching out, selling casks.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Distiller in the world?
I'm pretty sure it was World Distiller of the Year. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah. And it like made no news here. Like you'd think that would be big news. I could be wrong. And it was just Canada's Distiller of the Year, but we got something. And I was like, I remember going through and like seeing it and was like, what award was this? And I went back. I was like, holy crap.
Well,
So,
if we really want to blow this up, Sean, we can just do a live and we can announce it.
You guys are done with lives.
I mean, no more lives.
There is other news that we could go live.
We'll leave that for now. Did you guys see this rumor?
Am I out? Do I know about this?
Yeah, I told you guys about it months ago.
Oh, okay. I'm staying out of it.
Yeah, we'll leave that for now. This rumor, Sazerac offered $15 billion to buy rival Brown-Forman. Still a rumor.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times, but the rumblings are that Sazerac offered to buy Brown-Forman for $15 billion.
Okay, now
in this economy.
This is the second one because the first one that was rumored was Diageo was trying to acquire Brown-Forman.
Right. That's right.
And then a bunch of people came out and said, oh, this is just like conjecture and like a rumor. And then it was like within a couple weeks of that coming out, then it was Sazerac. And they like Sazerac confirmed that there's talks going on, but that nothing official has been stated in terms of like an agreement or even money or anything like that.
Do you wonder? It must be like they must be sensing weakness. Like they're like Brown-Forman for Diageo and Sazerac to both make an offer. They must sense maybe Brown-Forman's in some financial trouble, and they're like, now's our time. And $15 billion is actually probably $5 billion lower than what they're worth. Like it's
like a
high number, but it's not.
Brown-Forman in the past, like say since January, has closed a couple distilleries and I think a cooperage. So obviously, if they're like everywhere in the States right now for whiskey's hurting, but they were kind of out in public with what they were doing about it. So yeah, I mean, that could be the sharks sniffing blood in the water.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm sensing.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I just did a quick Google search on Brown-Forman.
Okay.
$13.07 billion US dollars.
Oh,
That's what they're valued at?
Yeah.
15 bills probably.
interesting. Douglas Lang, founder of Ardnahoe and Stuart Lang, founder of Douglas Lang and Ardnahoe, has passed away. He's like pretty well-known guy in the industry. I mean, those are some big brands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he passed away. He's like,
It wasn't Doug. It was Stuart Lang that died.
Yeah.
He was the founder of Hunter Lang and Ardnahoe.
oh, it's Hunter Lang?
Yeah.
Oh.
I really.
So he was one of the Lang brothers that kind of went their separate ways. And he started Hunter Lang. And then the other brother started Douglas Lang.
Lang.
Oh, so it's the Hunter Lang people that started Ardnahoe, not the Douglas Lang people?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's on 100%.
Oh, okay. I really messed that one up. I shouldn't do the news headlines on news stories. I'm not 100%. Oh,
Yeah, this one.
The next one.
So yeah,
Jerry, you go.
Yeah, you have to do
Premier.
this, Jeremy.
we got a Doug Ford update for everybody. Here we go. We didn't have much last episode, but here we go.
Our favorite premier in Canada.
Okay, so still no more American booths until the tariffs are lifted. But canceled plans to remove Crown Royal from LCBO shelves after $23 million deal.
Yeah. So it's actually, I think there's more there. You got to drag it down a bit.
They're spending money in different areas of the drinks industry.
Yeah. So it was like, hey, we're still moving the bottling plant to the States, but we're going to buy a bunch of neutral grain spirit from this company. We're going to invest in some marketing for Canadian products here, and
Right.
made it work. And in the grand scheme of things, it's still a Canadian product. So like,
Right.
I think Doug Ford, that was during like prime Doug Ford news-worthy headline moments. And he kind of was getting a little ahead of himself on some of these closures. Getting a little crazy.
Dumping bottles out.
Yeah, it's when he won our hearts. And but he's going on like all the news stations in the States. And he's like, nope, none of the booze hits our shelves till the tariffs are done. So he's not backing down, our boy Doug.
Did you see the Doug Ford news this week? Has nothing to do with whiskey at all, but
Oh, go ahead. We're already talking about him.
he now I don't know how true this is, but supposedly he bought his own private jet, and then people in Ontario found out, like, thought he bought it with taxpayer money. Because there's no way Doug Ford has $55 million laying around. And that there's like memes showing up where it's like a Craigslist ad, like, anybody in the market for a PJ? It's yours, but I need it gone ASAP.
Sold as is.
Yeah, so-
The jet didn't go over so well. In this economy, you can't be out buying jets. What's the leader of Mexico? Is she called the premier? What is she?
She's the president.
President of Mexico was flying like on a regular commercial aircraft a couple of weeks ago, and Doug Ford, the premier of Alberta, is buying jets.
Ontario, yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Sorry, yeah, you can't be doing. Anyways, enough about Doug Ford.
Our premier just rides magic carpets.
Beam Suntory, we're not getting political, Sean Kincaid. Beam Suntory scraps plans for it's kind of news, but not really. They were going to build a maturation facility in Scotland. It wasn't a distillery, it's just a cask warehouse. 191 million seems like a lot though. But they canceled the plans. They said they're just going to put the money into other local warehouses that are already in place. So it's not that big of news, but I'm probably not super surprised that they're not making a gigantic investment until things settle down a little bit.
They're like, hey, if we just rework the existing facilities we have, we can actually save $100 million.
Yeah.
Hold on, everybody.
This whole topic's going to come up a lot in this episode, especially. But yeah, it's in this economy.
They should use the money and buy Doug Ford a jet.
Yeah.
All right, new releases. Sean, what do we got?
So yeah, there's quite a few new releases.
They're all available in Canada. We're doing right. They have to be available. Not all of them. Most of them.
Maybe, like, some of them have just been announced. We're not sure if they're coming to Canada or not. Maybe, but you should take the first one, then I'll take the rest after that.
All right. Well, we're going to be sampling it. The Aberargie Inaugural. After all the talk, Sean's holding up the sample. Jared, sorry. It's finally coming. It's finally here. I think it's going to be ready to go on shelves within the next week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on any issues with the provincial government. It is here. We're going to taste it tonight. We're doing a launch tasting tomorrow with the managing director of the distillery, our buddy Niel Hendriksz. and super excited about. But we'll talk more about Aberargie later.
We also, with the bottles, you get this sick little leather band around the neck, and it snaps, and I wear it as a ring.
And this is the only time those are part of the release. This is the only one. So if you want one of those leather bands, you got to buy one.
Good thing I stole 2 off the bottles from Jasper.
Oh, that was smart, actually. We have a PWS Imports cask that just landed a little bit while ago, but it's in the market now. It's an Aaron distillery, but it's called Nc'Nean. But it's Nc'Nean is the Aaron. They kind of jumped the shark a little with that whole thing, but too many distillery names over there. There's like Lag, there's Nc'Nean, there's Aaron. They lost me. I don't know what's what over there anymore. This is just Nc'Nean / Aaron, 9-year first fill bourbon maturation for the whole time. It's a PWS cask, really nice spring summer whiskey, if you like that kind of thing. And then this one's not here yet, but it's the Lefroy Willem Dafoe release. I'm guessing it's NAS. Did you see an age on it?
I think it said 16.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I just saw the big Willem down the box.
Sorry, it's either 14 or 16. And it's basically the 10-year sherry cask, just
older,
extra years. Yeah.
And extra cost.
It's going
to be expensive.
Anyway. And they went full fashion. It's like, this is Willem by Willem.
Yeah. It's like he's Willem fucking Dafoe. He's not like an artist or he's an actor, but let's not go too far here. I like more the Offerman vibe myself, but oh well.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done with the releases.
Ardbeg's gonna get Wee Man to do their celebrity picks.
That would not be good for you.
No.
Sean buys Ardbeg again.
Speaking of Ardbeg, they just released their 10-year cask strength. So a lot of people have been asking for that for years. They kind of played on that with the launch, saying that it was like the most asked about committee release. I've actually tried it, and I tried it next to the regular 10, and it's definitely like more powerful, way more peaty, but it lost a lot of that like citrus fruit note that I love in the 10-year.
Interesting.
Obviously it hits harder. It's cask strength. It was, I don't know, like close to 60%, I think. That is coming to Canada, I'm pretty sure. And then their other new release is the Facial committee release, which is called Dolce. And I should have put it in here. I think it's another Marsala or Manzanilla finish, something like that. Now,
okay.
It sounds like it should be good, but the last few releases that they did with like fortified wines, like one of the Dragon's Tails or whatever they call them, the
Harpy's Tail.
Yeah. Like it was a Marsala, but they even like, I don't know how true it is, but somebody said they used like 80% bourbon barrels and 20% of the wine casks for the blend. So those are still sitting on shelves. So I'm sure we'll see this come here. Sticking on Islay, the Kilchoman 100% Islay sherry cask. It's 11 years old. It's the first time they've ever used all sherry for the 100% Islay barley, which they grow, harvest, and kiln themselves on their farm. And it's because it's their barley and they do the peating, it's only like 20 ppm. So it's less peated than the stuff that like Loch Gorm and Macure Bay. Okay. I tried that one and it is phenomenal. Like just lowering that ppm and the sherry cask, like it's almost like the perfect kind of balance for them. Lagavulin went away from Offerman and they released an 11-year sweet peat. Now, haven't heard that. This is the one I don't know if it's coming to Canada at all. It's in the States, I'm pretty sure. And I'm sure if you wanted to, you could find it at an auction or get a UK store to ship it. Kind of varied responses on that I've seen online. Our friends up in Fort McMurray the Malt Maniacs, they released their they launched their private cask with Ben Romick, and it's a 10-year sherry cask. And me and Trav tried it. It was at the Bothy tasting that we had.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good for sherry, like full sherry Ben Romick. It was pretty hot. It was hot. Like I remember it being hot and fairly peated as well. And then there's 2 stacks, Polaris 4.2, which is full vintage mash bill from our author friend over there that he did at Boan. So I actually got a bottle and a can of this. I haven't cracked it yet, but that's what Shane was talking about when he was on with us in the March episode. Yeah.
Finn O'Connor.
Yeah, Finn O'Connor. Yeah. And then Loch Lomond announced this one special for me. Their 2026 British Open casks. So they do 2 every year now. They do a NAS kind of like special edition, then they do an old aged one. So the regular one is Argentinian Malbec finish, which I'm so stoked on.
I love Malbec. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the aged one is a 19-year-old tawny port finish. So that could be interesting as well. And then the final one is they just released 2 new Cadenhead Enigmas, and one is a 16-year-old blended malt, and it's Highland Park, Kilkerran, and Hazelburn blended together. So
Cool.
yeah, and
cool.
the price on that, like all Enigmas seem to be fairly. They don't tell you what it is usually, and this one was like when it launched it was £75. So. Even if it's double that, $150 here, like that's a buy all day as far as I'm concerned. Maybe if it comes here, we'll throw it on an episode.
And you and I just both bought the same bottle. I believe we bought that Living Souls 99 in 1.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that one? It's 99% Ardbeg?
No, it's 99% 18-year-old Lechag.
Lechag.
And then 1% 3-year-old North British. And
That's cool.
The story that they've sold with it is that it was a bottling plant incident where they accidentally vatted 1% of North British, 3-year-old North British into it. But like I have the 18-year-old distillery release Lechag, and this costs significantly less.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to trying that. And then your whiskey's not out yet. We'll talk about it more next month, I think, is probably better.
I think May is when it's supposed to launch, sometime in May, hopefully.
Because your launch event we didn't talk about, but it was awesome. You did a great job, presented your whiskey. Your whiskey's fantastic. But
it's so old that cast strength was like what 44% or something like that.
But it smelt exactly. My only knock on it was the finish was a little bit short. That was my only knock on it. I could have smelled that whiskey for a day.
Oh yeah,
give me that cologne.
I still have the sample sitting right next to me, and I probably sniff it right out of this bottle like a couple times a week that I'm home.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I snagged a bottle, and we're gonna pour it at a virtual event. Jeremy, maybe we should get on that one too. That'd be fun for you to join.
Yeah,
cool.
Bourbon Cask Bonanza. Anyways, we'll talk about your new whiskey once it lands. Probably next episode, hopefully.
And then hopefully Jeremy might know better, but we have our own podcast bottle coming out too soon.
Oh shit!
Yeah. That's
Is it
right.
close?
I don't know exact dates on that. Actually, here, give me 1 second.
Well, why don't we just leave it?
Yeah, let's leave it.
We'll make it a bigger priority to talk about it when we're a little less rushed next episode, because we're recording our next episode pretty soon anyway.
Yeah, we're like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. This one felt like it took so long to get to.
It did.
Like a month and a half next one.
Yeah.
For everyone that's listening, sometimes we record early in the month and then it's like 3 weeks to a month till it comes out. Sometimes, like right now, we're recording April 24th for May 1st release. So April 24th, yeah. 25th?
And that means Jeremy has 1 week to edit this episode.
Yeah, like he's not busy enough.
Yeah, exactly.
We have 45 minutes till our first interview. Should we pull the bung?
Yeah, let's pull bung.
Do it.
All the
Oh, tonight we're going to grind some malts because we're going to fight about one of these whiskeys.
I can't wait to see the price.
Yeah, I blocked them out, so
That's
you
what's
don't know.
killing me.
Whiskey number 1, Nc'Nean, the Quiet Rebels Gordon edition. Pretty cool series. Whiskey number 2, Holyrood Ambir. It's spelled Ambir, but it just means amber.
It's the Scottish Gaelic amber.
Yeah.
It's just, they just switched the E for an I and called it Gaelic. And then number 3, Aberargie. So let's get right into it. Let's do some Nc'Nean. Sean, do you want to, I think while we're kicking off, maybe just tell people a little bit about the distillery before we start doing the whiskey? Is that maybe the better way to do it?
Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Just like a quick little, like what Nc'Nean's deal is, because it's a pretty cool distillery.
Yeah, so obviously it's a new distillery episode. So they were founded in 2013, but didn't start distilling till 2017. They're in the Western Highlands, across the Sound of Mull from Tobermory. So they're kind of up near Ardnamurchan and Ben Nevis, kind of like that general area.
Across the Sound of Mull from Tobermory too. They're like right across the
yeah. So like if you go across the water in north, you go to Ardnamurchan. If you go across the water in south, you go to Ben Nevis and Oban, and they're kind of like across the water straight over there. So yeah, Annabelle Thomas, she's the owner and founder, and she actually built it on her parents' estate, which is so pretty cool.
Obviously, quite a bit of money on land costs.
Yeah, exactly. Capacity right now is 100,000 liters a year, and they have remained completely independent because they raised a lot of capital through multiple rounds of funding. They're basically crowdfunded. They got 40 to 50 private investors all in on it. So yeah, I mean, that's super cool.
Super.
Their ideology is to leave the world better than we found it, and they are net zero. It was the first distillery in the UK to be verified as net zero for its own operations. So that's a pretty big deal.
Can I do this next one?
Yeah, go for it.
Because I watched an interview with Annabelle today, and it was like it wasn't really a whiskey interview. It was more like a guy who does like an environmental kind of podcast. And he asked her about like what are sort of like the main things that make you like an eco-friendly distillery. And she talked about 3 environmental sort of 100% like pillars of their sort of eco-focus. So one was their biomass boiler. So they use wood chips to produce the steam that runs the stills, but it also like that the heat also heats the whole distillery, like everything in the distillery. These wood chips they get from a local forest. It's within 2 miles of the distillery. So they're not like hauling this stuff in on big trucks or anything.
Right.
And then every time they take one of those trees out of the forest, they're replanting at least one tree every time. So that's one. Second one, 100% organic barley, which she mentioned in another interview that she thinks it gives it like this really good creamy quality. So that's 2. And number 3, they found a recycled glass bottle supplier. So those are their big 3 that beautiful bottles. So yeah, I found the interview really interesting because this is like a big part of what they do, and seems like they're doing a pretty good job of it. I think I already covered the next one too with the organic barley, Sean.
They use innovative yeast as well. It's kind of experimental and non-traditional. They use some rum and wine yeast to pull out specific fruit esters out of the wash. So, yeah, it's. I remember first hearing about them years ago, and obviously their bottles capture the eye, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then we were lucky, like a few years ago, our kind of promotion group that we had with a bunch of friends, they sent us all a bottle of it, and we got to try it. And I want to say it's one of the first releases they had, and yeah, it was super young but super super tasty. You could see that there was potential that it was going to grow, and then this one, like, pretty damn cool.
Yeah, so the series, the Quiet Rebels series, is the rebels are the workers at the distillery. So they're quiet rebels in the sense that, they're going about their thing, but then in a way they're rebels because of all how different they're going about running this distillery. So Gordon, I believe, is the distillery manager. Yes, distillery manager, who's been there since the beginning. So for this whiskey, he, what does it say? He wanted a deep fruit influence for this one. So he went with 74% STR red wine casks, shaved, toast, and recharred. These, oh, every episode, Travis. Shaved, toasted, and recharred. 19% ex sherry casks and 7% ex Rivesaltes, which is a French fortified sweet wine. It's a lot like a Pesero de Santalia cask. So, anyways, this is Quiet Rebels Gordon. What do we think?
48.5%. And it's kind of a common theme. Like all three whiskeys are 48 or 49% this month, which is cool. We never usually have three whiskeys that are all similar in proof. Like I tried these blind last night, and my initial notes was that it smelled and initial taste was just like a standard whiskey. Like when you think of just like a whiskey palate nose kind of thing. Now I'm kind of pulling out a little bit of the wine cask funk, which I didn't get at all last night. Like I actually thought blind that this was bourbon cask, and then to find out there's no bourbon cask at all is like bonkers.
Crazy. It's do we know like ages of these three whiskeys?
No,
we know they're all young-ish, but
this one and the Aberargie, based on what I found online, are both probably in that like 7 to 9 year range-ish. Yeah. Probably more like 7 or 8. And then Holyrood is probably a little bit younger because the distillery is younger. So yeah, let's just say we don't know.
Okay.
So I poured this blind. This is when I messaged you guys last night. Same thing. And I think we need to do this every episode, is pour them blind first. And we kind of give our initial rankings. But it's also a really good reminder that you got to come back to whiskeys. You cannot go after that first taste. I was downstairs watching hockey with my son and, paying attention to the whiskeys, but also not like we are tonight.
Yeah.
I just thought this was a really, really well blended, but I thought like mostly bourbon cask, maybe with a sherry finish of some sort. And then when I saw the casking, I was actually a little bit surprised, like Sean said. Yeah. I would say I'm getting more out now, especially on the palate. Getting some of that like tannins, like in the top of the mouth. That's giving me like some sherry cask stuff, but it's a very well made whiskey.
Yeah, like I get a lot of like the typical bourbon cask, like it's very honeyed, kind of vanilla caramel, that line. It last night, and again, diet, whatever, stress of the day, which I didn't have any yesterday because I slept, unlike Jeremy. That plays a factor. You can taste the same whiskey 2 days in a row and can be completely different.
Totally.
Tonight I'm getting a little bit more of the fruit coming through than I did last night, which is nice. I think I said that this was the least spicy or like least ethanol-y, like least hot of the three last night. And I'm still not getting much heat off of it. It's not burning at all, not prickly. But it just seems to be such like a nice rounded overall whiskey, kind of medium finish on it. Like I took a sip, talk for a bit. I can still kind of taste it. It's not lingering forever, but I mean, I don't expect young whiskeys to have a super long finish anyways. But yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at this at all.
I was just going to say that it's like nothing to be mad about with this whiskey. It is just kind of in every sense of the way, as you sit through and experience it, you're like, yeah, it's all just kind of good. Like,
yeah, it is.
There's nothing that jumps out as like, oh, I wish this or I wish that. It's like, no, like it's all kind of good.
Well, we tried to get the owner and founder Annabelle on the show. It didn't work out for her, but I would be curious to ask her. Like, it doesn't really say. Is this all like full maturation and then blended, or were they these casks that were originally bourbon, and then they finished them in these casks and blended them together? But that's just what they're showing. Like it just doesn't feel to me like full maturation, 74% STR. And I'm not saying it's not there. It's very much there. But it just doesn't feel like full maturation, STR, ex-sherry, ex-fortified wine to me.
Yeah, we got questions, Annabelle.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Her and we have each other's email. I'll email her. I'll ask her. And I'll just say, we need some answers. To me, it's actually probably a better whiskey because I think it's almost more balanced. And I think if it came across with as much of all that, it might have been too much, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Japanese whiskeys, and this very well blended, very well made. It doesn't like jump off a shelf, like pop you in the face, like, oh my God, this is mind blowing, but you're like, this is really good.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's well crafted, well blended,
or for anybody.
Yeah, and I was going to save that for like our review part, but yeah, this is one that you literally could pull off the shelf for anybody that just wants a nice, solid made whiskey.
Yeah, and they're all newish distilleries. Let's say newish because like 2017 for two of them, 2018. So like the youngest distillery here is still 7 years old. But for this one, I don't get any youthful notes at all on the whiskey.
Yeah, I agree
on this one.
No, like blind, if you were to put this in front of me and tell me it was a 10 or a 12-year-old, I would say, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Producer tasting notes quickly. Wine-soaked red berries, honey, and a hint of creme brulee. I'm okay with all that because it didn't say, you know, like in previous producer notes where they're like
saturated red fruits.
Yeah, like to me, wine-soaked red berries, I could easily... And then that honey note is there. On the palate, spiced plum jam, candied orange peel, and apricot. I think those are great notes for this whiskey, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they are too.
Like, there's not a lot of like dark
spiced plum jam is a nice note, actually.
Yeah. Like, there's not a lot of dark fruits, but you get those like stone fruits for sure.
Yeah. It's quite nice. Very nice. Texture, what you guys get? It says creamy on the end and lingering. How's the texture for you guys?
I wouldn't go as far as creamy, but it's not thin.
It's not thin at all.
No.
I think that's a fair analysis. Okay. Anything else on that one?
No, I mean...
Oh, let's move on.
Okay. Whiskey number 2. It's Holyrood, not Holyrood. Yeah. Holyrood.
Funny story. When I first moved to Edmonton,
Holyrood should have 2 L's.
No,
Holyrood is like if you're saying holy cow, it's 1 L. If you're saying Holly, like I don't know what you would say, but that's 2 L's. This is Holyrood.
Okay,
we're gonna have to get your mom on the phone.
Yeah, when I first moved to Edmonton, back in 93, 94, the neighborhood I lived in and the school I went to was Holyrood Elementary, and it was it was not Holyrood, it was Holyrood.
Did they make?
Why is there only one L?
Because it's Scottish. I don't have a clue.
Holyrood Elementary in Edmonton is Scottish.
No, the name Holyrood. Like in the office, they had a picture of Holyrood Castle.
Oh, really?
Office, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh. Oh,
and the Queen. I'm sure
okay.
it's the King now.
All right, you know what? Let's not even ask Rob that because he might think we're idiots.
Yeah.
Let's just
I
leave
don't
it.
want him to think we're stupid.
We got to set a good precedent.
I've met Rob a couple times. He knows I'm an idiot.
Yeah. He's well aware.
All right, we're fine then.
All right, whiskey number 2. Can we? Jer?
There's a big difference in the nose on this one and the last one in terms of what I would guess an age would be compared to the last one. Does that make sense? This one, it's giving me it's giving me a little bit more of a younger whiskey vibe to it.
And here's the funny thing is, last night I didn't get that at all, but I am picking it out a little bit tonight. Like doesn't smell or taste new makey at all.
No, that's not what I mean. Yeah.
But it's I mean, even looking at the 3 side by side, it's the lightest of the 3. Now that again could be casking,
Well, it is casking, but so let's go back quickly. Holyrood, they're the youngest distillery of the 3 tonight. So that might explain this a little bit. 2019, they started distilling. First distillery in Edinburgh in 100 years, almost 100 years, over 100
over 100 years.
Yeah. It was 19, whatever. The owners are Rob and Kelly Carpenter, who are Canadians who own SMWS Canada. Right. They are big supporters of Drams for Fam since the early days. Sean, you go to all their tastings in Edmonton. Fantastic people. So there is a personal connection here, which is how probably we were able to get Rob to come on the podcast. And then David Robertson's the other owner. They are equipped to make 250,000 liters a year.
Oh.
Which is decent, but still really overall quite small.
Yeah.
Now, in saying that, they also produce gin and rum at the distillery.
Right.
So that goes into those numbers as well.
Okay. And you can make a hell of a lot of gin in a short period of time if you want.
Yeah. Right.
So, and Sean, you can add to this, but I watched an interview with Rob today on YouTube, and basically they're basically taking the SMWS flavor approach and making a distillery based around the flavor. They're basically thinking about flavors as they're messing around with yeast and barley, and everything they're doing is creating different types of flavor. I call them Loch Lomond light in a way because of how many different things they're doing at the distillery.
Yeah, they pull on every lever that you can pull on in the process to create different, their motto is test, learn, improve, repeat. It's perfect. So I have the first 3 releases that have come to Canada. The inaugural was super cool.
Arrival.
The Arrival, yeah. And that has a story behind it. Then there was, I think, a peated one, which is super cool. And I think they used a whole bunch of different casks in that one, or maybe that's the Arrival. And then this one is they use all sorts of different kinds of malt. Distiller's malt, crystal malt, the chocolate malt, and they use heritage malts that other distilleries aren't using. They use unique yeast. Their stills are 7 meters tall, which is fairly tall for stills, and they're in a classified storied building.
It's an old train station.
Yeah, the offices from the train station. So to get 7 meter stills in there, they had to do a lot of innovative movement of still to get it in there.
They have a triple distilled whiskey they make too there. And they're experimenting with distillation time. So they're speeding it up, shorting it down, fermentate, everything you can imagine, like you said, pulling every lever. So as whiskey nerds, when this whiskey starts to get, again, it's still this, we're not saying this is, but when it starts to get 10 plus years, they're going to have a lot of cool flavors in those casks.
Totally.
Yeah. If you were able to try the 3 or 4 releases that have come to Canada, they are all completely different, which for a young new distillery to do that is pretty crazy.
It's impressive.
Like you think of Ardnahoe, like they're fairly standard in what they're doing. They've released, a cask strength version, a sherry cask, a bourbon cask, but they're not like when you taste it, you know what you're tasting. Whereas you could pick up 2 Holyrood Distillery releases and you wouldn't think that they're from the same place, which is I find it super cool.
Yeah. Jer, what is this whiskey? What is the casking on this?
Yeah, casking. Let me pull this up here. Relatively straightforward. 90% bourbon casks, mix of first fill and second fill barrels, and 10% Oloroso sherry casks.
Can we quickly tell people that you've been shooting at bars all week long and have had no sleep and probably zero preparation?
This is the least prepared I have ever been for a podcast. I was
including the one you had no whiskey for.
Including the one I had no whiskey for. I was shooting for Nika whiskey at 50 Best Bars pop-ups and the main event all week in Vancouver. I am 3 nights in a row between 3 and 4 hours sleep, and it's stacked. And then I ended it all off, and now I'm recording a podcast. So.
And I'm just like throwing stuff at you, like, hey, how about I do this? How about let's
throwing stuff at me?
You jump in whenever you're ready, whenever you're comfortable. I don't want to put you like in a spot where you're like, I don't know what the fuck we're talking about here, chap.
It's all good.
I know. I just didn't want to turn this into a hockey podcast, so I'm not talking about the Oilers game right now. I don't get frustrated either. So, Sean, you talked about it, but this whiskey, obviously not an age statement, but they're saying probably like around 3 to 5 years old. Maybe Rob and Connor can tell us, but they're calling it a whiskey nerds dram because of the extreme transparency in the recipe, which has 7 different specialty malts, chocolate malts. They got toasted malt, Vienna malt for body, caramel. Like, this is the kind of stuff that they're doing.
Crystal malt, which is awesome.
So cool.
And again, when I tasted it last night blind, it was well, we're going to talk about, I was a little bit kind of like, oh, what is this? Now, when you see the recipe and you know about the chocolate malts and you're actually like starting to look for that in the whiskey, you can pick out the crazy, weird maltiness in this whiskey.
Oh yeah, and like Vienna malt, I think is more of like a beer malt than like a whiskey malt, and the crystal malt, like Jeremy and I are very familiar with that because Bushmills did some crazy releases using crystal malt, and they're some of my favorite Bushmills. So, but like to add that in with all these other ones, like it's like a smorgasbord of malt. And
this true smorgasbord of malt.
Yeah.
it's and so again, I'm gonna go back to my first experience. I was a little bit like, yeah, I don't know. Tasting it again tonight and looking at it from through a different lens, and again, different palate stuff. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I did last night. And I don't know about you. Well, you enjoyed it last night too. You own the bottle, but
yeah, you own the bottle. I tried mine this afternoon and then let them sit out. And I would say I'm enjoying it more this time around than I did earlier today. I wonder if part of that is the influence of seeing some of the cool whiskey nerd shit that they're doing.
And
it makes me
goes to show you,
like, oh yeah, this is actually really freaking cool.
But like, it goes to show you, like, even blind, like, you have no preconceived notions about anything.
Totally.
And like I sent to you guys, when I tried all 3, I picked which I thought was each one, and I got all 3 wrong.
Yeah, you did.
And
I think I did too, actually.
Yeah, and like this one, I have the bottle, I've drank it. And I remember the first time I tried it and kind of like, I made a post about it and cracked the bottle. And I read about all this malt and I was like, this is insane. So maybe maybe it was the familiarity because I have tasted it and I haven't really tasted the other two. But yeah, like even coming back to it tonight, I enjoy it more tonight than I did last night. But I also enjoyed the Nc'Nean more tonight as well. So
Is it maybe just whiskey's always better with friends and not by
I
yourself?
was going to say the same thing.
Like it,
yeah, not my 15-year-old daughter and wife pouring it blind while I'm upstairs getting changed. Like I'm sitting by myself. Like, oh,
It's not the same.
It's not
the same.
but also talking it out and like reading the coolness, I think it gives you a level of appreciation. And again, I would say the biggest knock on this whiskey is just a slightly youthful nose, but like again, not as bad as not as youthful to me as it was last night. It's just,
and I will say, I think that when I directly started nosing this after the Nc'Nean, right away on the nose, I was like, oh, it smells a bit younger, but the palate doesn't reflect it in the same way, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's minimum 2 years younger than the other stuff, I would assume.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it is. For sure it is. I'll just give the producer's notes. Nose, caramel creamy fudge. So they're talking about a little chocolate, which is probably from that chocolate malt, that's there for sure.
Yeah.
Demerara sugar, Scottish tablet. What the fuck is a Scottish tablet? Claire's going to laugh at me. What is a Scottish tablet?
It's an iPad that you buy at
Smells like that?
And Siri has a Scottish accent.
Tablets smell different in Scotland than in Canada? Oh my
I know what it is, I think, but I'm just going to search it up.
God. It's called a cookie.
It's like a medium heart sugary confection from Scotland. It's
so many different names for treats over there.
Condensed milk and butter, which is boiled to a softball stage and allowed to crystallize. And it looks like fudge.
Oh, interesting.
Just call it fudge. It's fudge.
It's a tablet, Trav.
Scottish fudge.
It's literally made with butter, sugar, and condensed milk. That's it.
Those three ingredients, that's it.
I'm going to disagree. With their note on the palates. The red fruits, that 10% sherry to me isn't giving it.
I agree.
Maybe I don't get that. To me, I'm getting the malt. I'm getting cereal notes. I don't get the red fruit, and then vanilla and cornflakes, which for sure I'm getting vanilla and flakes. Finish, biscuit, velvet texture, mouthwatering. Texture is really nice.
Yeah,
it is nice. Yeah, I agree.
It's creamy, and again, it's probably some of those malts in there, but yeah, it's creamy and soft. There's not any bite to it. It kind of has like a nice kind of spiced finish. Like spice might be the wrong word, but it's like the finish is there. Like it lets you know that it's there. It's not super long, but
that's okay. It's 5-year-old whiskey. It's like
totally.
It's 10:13. So we got to get through Aberargie. We got to get through Buy Not Buy in 17 minutes. We can do this, right?
We can totally do this. No one's in the waiting room yet.
Okay. So Neil's going to sleep right till the last minute anyway. We probably got to like 10:35, but we probably are going to want a pee break by then, right?
Yeah, I'm going to want a pee break before we do the interviews.
Before 3 interviews. Okay. Aberargie. Obviously excited about this. I could talk for hours about the whole story of how I know about Aberargie, how I know Neil. We'll talk a little bit about the interview. Let's skip that for now. Founded in 2016, first cask filled in 2017. So this whiskey that you're drinking could be anywhere up to 9 years old. My guess is it's more like 7, 8 years old. They are in Perth, just outside of Perth. Perth is considered Highlands, but the actual distillery is like 4 miles or 4 kilometers south of the Highland line. So it is a eastern lowland distillery.
Barely.
Would be fairly close to like St. Andrews Golf Course, I would think. The owners, the Morrison family. So we'll talk about this a little bit with Neil. But in 1994, the Morrison family sold Bowmore, Auchentoshan, and Glengarry to Beam Suntory. That was the last time they made whiskey until Aberargie. So they're basically coming back out of the woodwork after like 30 years, which is awesome. They're a barley to bottle distillery. They have a 300-acre farm doing everything on site. You know what? we're going to talk about all this with Niel. We can skip all this. Let's talk about the whiskey, and we'll learn about the distillery after. Does that sound fair?
That sounds great. Man, from my first go at this earlier today, this nose is popping.
Yeah, me too.
Like
way more.
Way more. Like very, very nice.
What I've said to most people about this whiskey is, I guess we can read the stats quick. 50% first fill bourbon barrels and 50% first fill sherry. Okay. It doesn't say first fill on the bottle, but basically they're only using first fill barrels for now.
What I love is that we got samples of just straight bourbon and just straight sherry.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink those after.
So you basically got the components that make up the whiskey, which is cool. 48.2%, so very close to the Nc'Nean. And then because they're growing their own barley, they're growing Golden Promise barley. We'll talk about that more with Niel. But this is like a barley that they've stopped growing in the industry since like the 70s and 80s because it's a low yield barley, produces lots of field. We talked about this last yield. We've talked about this last episode. But the mix in this whiskey is 48% Laureate barley and 52% Golden Promise barley. So think rich texture, typically from Golden Promise barley. That's the whiskey.
Producer notes, rich layered whiskey with notes of baked apple and golden pastry, balanced by succulent sultanas and prunes, and a lingering herbal finish.
Herbal finish for sure. Man, this whiskey is popping compared to my first try with it.
I've been telling people this whiskey, it's kind of like the other ones that it's going to be really hard to blow people away with whiskeys under 10 years old. Typically, that's just the way the world works. But this is, to me, a whiskey that is very well blended. It's got some really cool components, like the texture, I think, is amazing. And it's just a whiskey, again, I go back to like a whiskey you would pour for almost anybody.
It's crazy because tasting it last night blind, it was so funky on the nose, and it like felt disjointed is too strong a word. It wasn't disjointed, but it just felt like I was like kind of picking things out. And I realized that it's probably the complexity that I was getting, is that I was getting a more complex mixture of notes. But tonight, like Jeremy said, it's popping. And I don't think I did it in the same order last night because I did it blind. So, and I was going back and forth to each of them as well.
Yeah.
Which is a little different than, like my mouth is watering. I'm having a hard time speaking because my mouth is so full of drool.
That's what I'm experiencing too. It just, man, it is obviously we're tasting these all back to back. This one, my first try through, I did them blind. My order was the Nc'Nean Aberargie Holyrood. This time around, after it's sitting out for a few hours, it is like, it feels like vibrant to me compared to the other two. There's just like,
it pops. It's when you said it,
something. Yeah.
The note that I've seen come up a lot is pastry shop. And then that baked apple, like kind of, it's like a really nice apple note, but that pastry shop nose, it's like very much like walking into lots of fresh baked goods, ready.
Yeah, actually, in Holyrood, where I grew up, there was a little tiny bakery in a strip mall that they demolished the whole strip mall to make room for LRT bullshit. And that bakery, we used to go in there in the summer at like 10 a.m. and just grab like a thing of fresh cookies or whatever. And the smell every time you walked in there, if you walked in too early, it was just bread. All you'd smell was fresh bread. But if you went in there around 10 to noon, they'd started making all their cookies and cupcakes and stuff. So you're getting way more sweetness. But that smell when you walked in was just like, oh, if I could go back to that,
good.
So good.
Well, and I think you get some of that here. Anyways, it's just, man, it's just really good whiskey. I've obviously like been very nervous about tasting it and like trying to get not to get too excited. But the big thing with them is they waited. They were very patient. They had the ability to be patient because they're a family that's been making whiskey forever. They're a 5th generation family, but they have brands. They have Macallan, they have Old Perth, they have Cardmore. So it's not like they're starting from scratch and just had to start pumping out whiskey. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Like that's what Nc'Nean's doing. That's what Holyrood's doing. Distilleries have to do that. That's fine. These guys didn't. They waited, and I would say the wait was worth it. Like it's just good whiskey.
I think so. When I tried these earlier, I felt like they were all like very close in experience. And this time through, I am feeling like the Aberargie it's pulling a bit more for me. But honestly, all 3 of these, I don't really have complaints on any of them.
No.
So, okay, yeah. Do you want me to highlight the prices?
Yes, I would
Are you guys ready to buy or not buy?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's going to be tough. Okay. Let's go through the 3 prices first. So, Nc'Nean Quiet Rebels Gordon, apparently in SAC, it is available in SAC, and it's quite cheap comparatively. It's like $108.
$108
in SAC. But in Alberta and BC, it's $140 to $150. So
why are we getting hosed like that?
Well, I feel like SAC probably was like, give us a good price and we'll buy a boatload of it.
Right.
This is true.
$107 that's a good. It's not bad. For that
this is through ChatGPT though. So like, maybe someone do a quick SAQ search and just double check it because that's a big difference. Like.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, you're gonna look it up.
Yeah.
So then there's the Holyrood Ambir, and it's in the $100 to $115 range, which is very similar to. So it says the Holyrood Ambirs. It's in Alberta and some private stores in BC. So in BC, it's almost $150 at the Strath.
So they don't have.
Who do they think they are? Cologne?
SAC does not, in fact, have this. The one that's 106 is the regular release, the one that we both have.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, okay. So take that right off. This is why you got to double check things sometimes.
Yeah.
That's too weird.
They do have 2 SKUs, but they have a single malt Aon, AON, single cask. So a single cask, and it's 170.
Okay. So let's just say Nc'Nean is the most expensive. Holyrood Ambir up to $100 to $115 in Alberta, depending where you buy it. Aberargie it's going to be around $115 depending on the shop, but you'll see it. I'm already seeing it being pre-sold on a couple groups for like right around 100. So probably it's very close to Holyrood Ambir, 100 to 115. Jared, I don't know what might have happened there, but
my camera froze. I'm still here. I'm just resetting it.
So there's your prices. It's going to be really hard for me to tell people to buy the Nc'Nean for $140 to $150.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Most Alberta places have it exactly $140 to $150.
That's going to be tough for me.
I will say, like, based on the experience of all 3 of these and them being fairly close, for there to be that big of a price difference on one would immediately jump me to the. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all 3 of these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, younger, new distilleries, no complaints on any of them, really.
Honestly, I think the price has a lot to do with the organic. Like, organic is not cheap.
Yeah, organic grapes are more expensive too.
Yeah, but I assume that has something to do with the price.
But if we're just factoring in essentially, like, the experience was good, fair, relatively close with all three. $150 for it. I'm gonna pass.
Yeah. I don't think I could buy it for that. And I would say buy a tasting kit for that one.
Totally. Yeah.
Buy a Lost in Translation tasting kit at Whiskey Drop. Try it. It's really worth trying. And if you do love it, you can go buy a bottle, but at least you get to try it.
Yeah.
Along with 5 other whiskeys in the kit, 6 total.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, obviously there's going to be bias here, but I don't even think bias comes into play. Like fully transparently, I think the Aberargie is going to be a must buy for me at that price, considering the tasting for me.
It's the Aberargie has stood out for me this round. The Holyrood, though, learning some of the stuff, because I came into this podcast blind. I didn't know any of the info or anything. Learning about what they're doing made me actually appreciate that whiskey. It's, I don't know, like those are good. I will say the Aberargie for me was the most vibrant one tonight. After it's sitting out for a few hours, going through them again, it felt like it popped. And if it's the same price as the Holyrood, that would be the one I would go for tonight. But honestly, man, they're both pretty good.
All three were good.
All three were good. Like this is
Yeah. I think based on conversations, we probably, well, Sean, you like the Holyrood a little bit more than the Aberargie, right? Or is that still holding true?
No, tonight I think the Aberargie popped a lot more for me.
Okay. So why don't we do Aberargie must buy? It's the inaugural release too, which is it's the only inaugural out of the 3 of these. So
right.
Give it a little bit of kudos for that. And we'll say the Holyrood Ambir, you should probably buy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a cool whiskey. Those malts, the different barleys, I think is a really cool concept. And that whiskey really grew on me. If you can get it for around that 110 mark, I think that's a $110 bottle. And then let's go Nc'Nean Quiet Rebels Gordon. We all liked it, but buy the tasting kit to confirm you like it before spending that money.
Yeah, and if you do like the story of Nc'Nean and the fact that they're organic, you want to try it. Like they have other releases in Alberta that are cheaper, and
you can get this for $100 or so, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like I know, when I got the Ambir, I got it for, I think it was on sale when I got it. It was $90. So at $90 on sale,
it's great.
To me, that's a up buy for sure. But at regular price, like, yeah, I'm probably going to grab the Aberargie. The fact that it's inaugural as well, like, how many times do we see a first release from a distillery and the price is well above where it should be?
Yeah, I've talked to several retailers in Alberta, and they're like, it's a very good price for a first ever release, especially with that age behind it. So they're all content. Totally. I will say with the Holyrood, like how many bottles in Alberta can you buy and be like, oh, this is cool. It's a Scotch distillery. It's in Edinburgh, first one in 100 years. Oh, and the owners live in Alberta.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. It's a cool story. Holyrood is a cool story, and their whiskey's only get better and better. So, must buy Aberargie Inaugural. There's 80 cases coming to Alberta. They're going to be all across the province. You'll be able to find one. Probably should buy Holyrood Ambir. Try the tasting kit first. Nc'Nean Rebels Gordon. If you love it, go buy one.
Yeah, I agree. The Holyrood, I would say, is like it's kind of like the cool enthusiast kind of pick, right?
Yes.
It's like, let me tell you all these insane things that they're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Niel Hendriksz just messaged me. We timed this perfectly. Said, ready when you are. We can have a quick
Is he in the waiting room? I don't think so.
Well, I might have to explain it while I pee, but. All right. Pee music?
All right. Pee music. Let's do it. All right, guys, we are back. Post P. It is time for Cask Me Anything with Niel Hendriksz, Aberargie. Let's bring him in.
Cask me anything. Pop the cork and pour a dram. It's time for Cask me anything.
How's it going?
Good. How are you this morning?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Thanks for waking up for us.
You are most welcome. Let me just see. I've just got to see if I can get my earphones going. There we go.
Neil, I was just telling him you were a guest on the old podcast as well, but I forget. I think we recorded that one late. It would have been early for you too, but I'm not sure. But we appreciate you coming on nice and early.
Not a problem at all. How's it going? Everyone still sober?
Quite questionable.
We've all had crazy weeks. Sean just got back from his job up northern Alberta. Jer's been shooting a big top 50 bars in Canada festival all week long till like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I've been at my day job. So we needed this. This was a very needed activity. And so we've already reviewed, I think I told you, we reviewed 3 whiskeys first. So we're 3 whiskeys in and a couple Guinness.
Nice.
But the Aberargie Inaugural was the third of the 3 whiskeys. And we all, it got our must-buy recommendation of the 3.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yeah, it did very well. Now, all 3 were quite tasty, but it stood out for us. So,
Yeah.
But I'm going to let Jared kick it off because he's the host of this part of the podcast.
Of the Cask Me Anything. So, Neil, one thing that we always like to do when we bring a guest on is we like to start out with a little bit of like a quick origin story. So, like, Aberargie, how did it all come about? Like, give us a quick little rundown.
Yeah. I mean, Aberargie, I suppose, started back when the Morrisons had Morrison Scotch whiskies, Morrison Bowmore Distillers. So our owner, Jamie's grandfather, Stanley P. Morrison, purchased Bowmore Distillery in 1963. And then went on to acquire Glengarry Distillery and Auchentoshan Distillery and managed those brands with his son, Brian Morrison, until around 1994 when they sold majority of their shares to Suntory. And then there was a bit of a break. And I remember speaking to Jamie just before I joined the business. And he said to me, he almost felt it was his duty to re-enter the Scotch whisky industry and build a distillery, given his family background. So he almost felt obligated. But he bought a farm, a Netherton farm just south of Perth, about a decade ago, and built the distillery, Aberargie Distillery. Started building in 2016. And we started running the stills in October of 2017. And on the farm, we grow barley. On the specific farm, we grow Golden Promise barley. And from there, we send the malt away to Simpsons to be malted and bring it back. And so it's a real barley to bottle operation. And the site's probably bigger than most people think. I think the single most sort of surprise when people come and visit us is the size of the facility. We've got a bottling facility and office. We've got the actual distillery that houses all the equipment you need to distill single malt Scotch whisky. We've got a vatting facility and a small warehouse, and we've got another big warehouse. So on site, we've got capacity to store around 35,000 casks.
Holy.
Yeah, so it's it's a really nice size. So yeah, I suppose that's where it all started. And we traded as the independent bottler for many years. I suppose until March of this year, where we could officially call ourselves although we've been distilling for eight years, we only just released our first whiskey.
Which is such a cool way to do it, to wait and have the ability to wait to when you feel that it's ready to release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For that you need a few things. You need a shareholder that understands that whiskey takes time and has the patience to wait, and you need a sustainable business that allows you, from a cash flow point of view, to not have to release a 3 or 4 year old purely for the sake of cash flow. So we're really fortunate in that position that our shareholders are fully behind us waiting, playing the long game. This is not. When we launched Aberargie, it was such a phenomenal couple of weeks, or probably a month or 6 weeks of launch activity, and we almost got into a situation where you want to do everything at once, and it took some time just to step back and realize, yes, we've waited for 8 years and everyone's eager to get on with it, but this is the youngest Aberargie will ever be. We're dealing with an absolute infant.
Yeah.
This is day one for us, and that, when you look at it like that, it's a very different approach, I suppose.
See,
How many cases of the inaugural were produced?
We did just north of 10,000 bottles.
Okay.
So around 2,000 physical cases.
And to how many markets are you guys launching in, Neil?
Oh,
Obviously Canada's next week-ish. So that's one.
super. Yes. So we're in majority of Europe. So on the launch day, we were on shelf on the same day in the UK, Germany, Netherlands, Italy, Poland. France will come a little bit later. Yourself will be soonish. Australia, Japan. We still got stock going to Sweden. We still got some stock going to Taiwan. But our key markets, majority of Europe, the UK, 1 or 2 markets in Asia, and then yourself, Australia.
Big market in Canada, Neil.
Yes. Yeah.
It's going to blow up there. So when we did the origin story, I kind of wanted to go back to that for a second, because I've known you for a while now, and you have a pretty cool sort of background in terms of how you got to where you are. So you're now managing director of a up and coming Scottish distillery that's making our favorite whiskey that we've tasted tonight. But you've kind of been working your way up towards this. So like, when you first came over, maybe just talk about like when you first started with Morrison Distillers, did you at the time, like right when you signed that contract, was there an idea that like one day you would be running a distillery, or was that way too far down the road when it first happened? Because you went over there, and when did you start there?
I started there in March of 2018, so exactly 8 years ago.
Yeah. Was this ever part of that conversation, or was it just you were brought in to do what you were brought in at that time?
I was brought in to do export sales, to find new markets for them to sell the portfolio of whiskey that they had at the time. My background is I was a bartender and a brand ambassador for probably the best part of 15 years. And that's how I started in the industry, like most people, behind a bar, either drinking whiskey or serving whiskey, polishing glasses.
Yeah.
And then got involved in a distribution company in South Africa, and was brand ambassador for their whiskey portfolio. But when I joined, which was Morrison and Mackay at the time, it was a fairly small business, and I knew that I could grow with the business. I saw the potential, and I knew that I would, grow with the business. I don't know whether I, at that stage, thought that I'd be running the business within 8 years. But I did play golf with a very good friend of mine about 2 years ago. And I met Karen, who was the brand ambassador for Glenmorangie at the time. I met her in South Africa back in, I think, 2007 or 2008. And she said to me, Niel, when I met you for the first time, and this is 2007, you said to me that one day you'd love to run a family-owned Scotch whisky business in Scotland.
Very cool.
And I don't know, maybe in the back of my mind, it's always been there. And maybe I have verbalized it externally to other people. I certainly didn't go into Morrison Scotch Whisky Distillers or Morrison Mackay at the time thinking I want to run this business, but I could see the potential. There was a phenomenal setup. They had a good group of people, some questionable brands within the portfolio, and a lot of that changed within sort of 2 years of me starting. And we brought out McTalla, which was a brand created from scratch. We redesigned Old Perth and Cardmore. And now, everything we've done in the last sort of 3 to 4 years has been leading up to us launching Aberargie.
We'll go a little bit more into the Aberargie stuff, but I got to go back because I remember when you were on a trip to Canada and you were kind of structuring Carnmore and the Strictly Limited series. And I think at the time, what was the original ABV of the old Carnmore bottles?
46.
It was 46. And I think you and I had a conversation. You said, what would you like, or what would you think the right ABV would be for an independently bottled? And I said, I think at the time I said to you 48%.
Mm-hmm.
And you ended up going with 47.5. And I tell people,
not to please you.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, I was like, I think he agreed with me, but it couldn't be my idea. Now Aberargie's 48.2. And I was like, he did it again. He went 2% higher just so he couldn't say, oh no, that was Travis's idea way back in 2000, whatever. So, I'm never going to get my credit, but I still think that deep down inside, you were like, you know what? Travis was right way back when. It's just a
moving Cardmore was, we wanted to create, we needed a point of difference. We also didn't want it too high because a lot of the whiskey that we did bottle at under Cardmore at the time was pretty young. So you got to be careful to go too high, and we wanted to be accessible. Aberargie's 48.2 was purely down to tasting. We tasted Aberargie from 46 to 54% on every single percentage point and in between. And it literally just 48.2 just felt so good. And just a really nice balance between, if you go cost strength, it's fine, but you're really looking after a tiny group of consumers. 46% is okay. It's very approachable, but it's maybe not enough. And 48.2 just was that real balance where there's enough in it. It's vibrant, but you can taste the maturity, you can taste the age, you can taste the structure, but it's not aggressive in any way. It's really approachable.
Yeah. I think I said to the guys earlier, First of all, I think 48 would have done that as well, but we won't go there anymore. But I said to the guys,
Just didn't.
I said to the guys earlier, I did say that this feels to me like a whiskey that you could pour for absolutely anybody. And I think that's a huge compliment, because I think you can pour it for enthusiasts. We're three enthusiasts that thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But you can pour it for a newbie, and you can kind of say, like, here's what they're doing, and here's what's cool about it. And I want to go back a little bit just for a sec here, because when you go back to designing the distillery and you're saying, this is what we want our whiskey to taste like, every decision you make is like, it's an unknown in a way, but you guys chose to do the Golden Promise barley. You had to choose what style of stills to make. You had to choose fermentation times. And we've talked to local distillers like Gerprita and Oka, like, you don't know any of the results of that down the road. But what were those decisions like for you? How were they made? And I guess I'm sure you're happy with the end result so far. But to me, it's really intriguing to hear what those conversations were like in the early days.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, I wasn't involved in the design of the distillery. I joined after they built, but Jamie wanted to create a whiskey of structure, and I suppose Golden Promise was a big part of that conversation. We are typically, I mean, legally speaking, we are below the line. Although it's nowhere mentioned on our bottle that we're a lowland whiskey, we don't believe we produce a style of whiskey that is typical of, or that will fit the consumer's expectation of a lowland style whiskey.
Right.
Our stills are, I suppose, average in size. Wash still is almost twice the size of the spirit still. There's a lot of copper contact. Our line arms run down. So although we create a lot of reflux, once it goes through to the condensers, again, there's some contact there. Fermentation times was a big one that we played around with. And as you say, we set up a new design the distillery to create a specific style of spirit. But only when you switch it on, and only when you start running the equipment does it tell you how it's going to react. Right. And the nice thing about being a small distillery and having someone like our production director, Graham McKerry, who's been there since, well, I think he's been with the business probably close on 16 years. He knows the equipment better than anyone. He can tell you by the sound of the equipment whether things are going right or not. And he was given the flexibility and the freedom to play around in the first few months to make sure that we get things as it should be. And we're still making some changes. You always make small changes that at the moment drives efficiency rather than spirit quality. We are so happy with the spirit quality, so everything we do is to protect that. But you want to drive efficiency.
Very cool.
It just, to me, there's so many important decisions that are made, and like you said, with unknowns, and to end up with a product like this is got to be pretty exciting for everyone involved over at the distillery. I remember when you sent me your first taste and you're like, I'm pretty happy with this. It's pretty special.
Yeah, it's all we've heard about for the past 6-8 months is how good it is. And just wait till it comes. So now
that's great, because until October of last year, we didn't tell anyone about Aberargie. The only people that knew about us were our distributors, the distributors that sell McTella, Old Perth, and Carmel. We didn't tell anyone else about Aberargie or our plans or what we do. We didn't invite any whiskey writers to come and have a look at it. We had no press releases. We wanted to be 100% comfortable with our message before we go to the audience.
I know our friend, he was on our old podcast, Sean. He got to get a sneak peek. Was that almost 2 years ago now?
Mhm.
And he even said, he's like, I wasn't allowed to take pictures of much, and I wasn't allowed to see very much, but it's pretty cool. So yeah, it was cool to have one of our close friends be able to go over there and see it firsthand. I'm just, before we deep dive into anything Aberargie more than we have, with the old brands, what's the status of them? Like, obviously, Old Perth, we still have connections in stores in Scotland that when the new releases come out, you obviously tell us about them, and then we find a way to get them. Is Carnmore dead now, or is it still being made? And
Absolutely not. I mean, we continue as before. Our priorities might have shifted to Aberargie for a period of time, but we're about to launch Metella Phage, so of Phage bottling. For this year, we just released the Metella PX, which is our limited edition for this year. Old Perth, we've done some really fascinating blends, like blended malts, like the Solera edition or Old Perth Bodega. So we've got Bodega Concept 2 coming on later this year. And I mean, the priority for Old Perth is to make delicious drinking whiskey for people that enjoy sherry matured malt. And Carnmore continues. Carnmore is as it was before. There's the independent bottling scene has changed over the last 5 years. There are so many independent bottlers coming to market, but I think as Carnmore, we've got a reputation for putting good quality liquid in a bottle, and we just want to continue to do that.
Very cool.
Carnmore, the independent bottling market is crazy, and I think we're starting to see even some brands like Gordon MacPhail put out like almost like a budget line. What's that line that just came out? Spirits in Scotland, I think. And so I think that whole world, and I'm in it, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, because I think the days of 10-year-old Lefroy for $250, those days are probably behind us, which is a good thing for consumers for sure. Going back, this is a question because we're going to have Rob Carpenter and Connor O'Keefe from Holyrood Distillery on after you. Actually, we're just gonna keep staying up all night until you guys wake up.
Yes.
And we're gonna ask this question of them as well, because and obviously you don't consider yourself like a true lowland distillery, but when you just look at lowland distilleries in the last 10 years, we've gone from, there was like a 1.3, I think, Auchentoshan. I forget, I can't even think of the other two offhand, but it was like 3. And now, Auchentoshan, there you go. And now we're up to like, I don't know, almost 20. And so I guess the question is, how is Aberargie going to come into a market with, and not just lowland distilleries, just all new distilleries across the board, not even just in Scotland, Ireland, Canada. How are you guys planning to, I guess, differentiate yourself, kind of plant your flag and just say, this is who we are, this is how we're going to be? Because I don't think it's easy out there right now. I know it's not easy.
Yeah. It's not. I think back to when we sat, one of our very first creative sessions. So we worked with a company down south called Kingdom and Sparrow to help us design the brand and build the DNA and the design of the packaging and that. And one of the strategists, Rob, asked us in the very first session, why do the world need another single malt Scotch whiskey? and the answer was pretty simple. It doesn't. Like the world, we don't need anymore.
That's good. That's a very honest answer. It's a good answer.
And it is. And you gotta have those conversations because, there are a lot of new distilleries. There are a lot of existing distilleries all doing trying to produce good quality whiskey, and we just took it right back and said, right, who do we want to be? Do we want to be experimental by nature? Do we want to be traditional by nature? Do we want to be innovators? Do we want to be recruiters? Or do we want to just look after existing whiskey drinkers? What type of whiskey do we want to be? What type of brand do we want to be? And it took a lot of guts, and it took me a while to make peace with the fact to truly be comfortable with not being innovators and not be experimental, and just say, right, we're going to be, and they still sound like we're going to be premium traditional. We're going to do things the way we know they would have been done 100 years ago. We've got that real strong connection between farming and distillation. And if you ever speak to Gray McKerry, he's a farmer, and he's such a phenomenal way of talking about the connection between farming and distillation, and how distillation is a byproduct of farming rather than the other way around. And a lot of things that we do from a sustainability point of view is relating to the relationship between farming and distillation, or farming and distilling. And it's not something that we do because we want to drive the sustainability piece. It's something that we do because that's best practice for us.
Yeah.
I suppose making good quality single malt Scotch whiskey in the most traditional way we know, and just having a very clear, straightforward story. And I think one of the best comments about this whole launch period was the consistency of the narrative. And regardless of whether we tell it or someone else tells it or a consumer tells it, it's fairly consistent. And that just shows that the story is clear. We use two types of barley, Golden Promise and Laureate, and we use two types of casks, first fill bourbon and first fill sherry. And it's as simple as that. It's 100% farm grown, and it's 100% first fill wood, matured on site, bottled on site. And there you go. It's not any more complicated than that. But it does make it, and Christian asked me at one of our launch events, is it more difficult to be traditional or is it more difficult to be innovators? And being traditional, you've got less to hide. Because we strive for consistency.
Yeah.
If you are on the other side of the spectrum and you just want to innovate, everything is different. And, I suppose not making mistakes, but if something is different, there's always an answer for it. Whereas for us, we just want to create something as consistent as possible. We do experiment within the distillery, different yeast types, different fermentation times, different distillation regimes, different barley types, different cask maturations, finishes, all those kind of things. But at the core, we are Laureate and Golden Promise, first fill bourbon and sherry casks.
And quite a contrast to, I love how you're kind of setting up our next interview, actually. Because Holyrood Distillery is like the complete opposite. And that's, I think, fantastic, because it's really kind of cool. And sorry, Sean and Jared, I just keep going here, but
it's all good.
This is like I have all these things, but you're talking about going basically like more based on, a consistent message, a consistent sort of going with tradition and everything. And you have this background of the Morrison family, and they're a pretty private family. They don't do a lot of like public appearances. You don't see the Morrisons on interviews, and like they kind of keep to themselves. But do you think that family history needs to be a part of this story as much as what you just talked about? Because you just talked about the sherry cask, the bourbon cask, first fill, golden promise barley to bottle. You didn't even really talk about this strong 5th generation distilling family in any of that. And I'm just curious if that's going to be a part of the story or just kind of like a very small part of that story.
I mean, it is part of the story, because essentially Jamie built the distillery. It's his distillery. We've got a single shareholder, as a family, and they still behind the scenes still drive some of the strategic direction, but they're not involved in the day-to-day running of the business. And I think, to be fair, it takes a lot of trust for a family business to hand over the day-to-day operations to a group of people that they trust. I mean, it's essentially myself, Graham, our production manager, and the finance manager. And that's a massive responsibility for us that we don't take lightly. But Jamie's in the office. I speak to Jamie on a weekly basis. But yeah, it's less about the family. It's more about the quality of liquid.
Yeah.
Although we would never be able to do what we do without the family, right? Yeah. Without their investment and without their trust and without their. So it is super important, but we are not who we are purely because there's Morrison written on the front of our building.
Yeah, well, and it even in the videos on Instagram and stuff, like it's talked about the 5th generation family, and it needs to be talked about. I truly believe, as someone who's going to be promoting this whiskey, I will be talking about it. I think history in this industry is important, but I do like that it's not like the only thing, and that there's really a true story coming about the liquid itself and what's making it, what it is. And I saw somewhere you guys are capable of making up to 750,000 liters a year. Like that's what the distillery is designed to make, but you're not making that much, obviously. But if you wanted to start really going heavy down the road, you're capable of that.
If we do, like distilleries did in the good times, run 24/7, 7 days a week, we could touch 1 million.
Crazy.
So when we set up the distillery, we had one mash tun, 6 washbacks, 2 stills. We now have 1 mash tun, 9 washbacks, and 2 stills. So we could touch on that. But we don't need that level of liquids. At the moment, we run 4.5 days a week, so 9 mashes a week, half day on a Friday. We always take off Friday afternoon, and we don't work over weekends. Well, the production team, the sales and marketing team work over weekends, but production team don't work over weekends. Yeah.
Very cool. It's you guys are in a really good position to, like, off the get-go with Aberargie and your production facility, be in a place that some people when they start out would be like, one day that's what we're going to be like. You're in a really fortunate position, and this is very cool. So you've mentioned briefly fermentation times without really any details, but I'm super curious on this one. Tell me about your fermentation.
So we've got long and short, and if you sketch it out, it will probably make more sense. But we've essentially got 9 washbacks. We've got 9 mashes a week. So each mash goes into a single washback. And depending on whether we run over the weekend or not, whether that tank is full over the weekend or not, we've got long and short fermentations. But our short fermentation starts at around 72 hours.
Okay.
So we've got some, was it 3-4 day fermentations, and then some 5-6 day fermentations.
Very cool.
We distill everything separately.
Yep.
And then the week's distillation gets put together into a spirit tank and filled at the end of the week.
Very cool.
And that
Interesting.
creates consistency. And again, if you speak to grain, you know, the spirit that runs off the stills on a Monday is ever so slightly different to the spirit that runs off the still on a Friday when the stills have been working for the whole week. So again, just to create that balance and consistency, we then fill that to the spirit tank, and bottle it once the week's done. Cask. Put it to cask once the week's done.
Very cool.
So you mentioned basically 100% first fill sherry and bourbon. Down the road, is there going to be experimentation with cask types as well? Will you release single cask Aberargies as well, like a Nc'Nean cask for Canada?
Straight to the Nc'Nean. Oh,
Straight to the Nc'Nean. Saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah.
So I suppose two things there. One, at the moment, it's 100% first fill. However, we've started tipping some of that first fill because we believe that the liquid is ready, and filling it to refill wood, just to reduce that maturation, I suppose, the interaction. And by doing that, we've actually created really good quality second fill wood for ourselves. So we didn't need to go and buy refill wood. We've generated ourselves. Because if we do want to, and you know, as I said, it's an infant at the moment. So one day we'd probably like to do it a 12 or an 18 or a 30-year-old. And for that, you need refill wood. So we've started creating some refill for ourselves, but we also have a lot of other interesting cask types on site.
John, I will work on them. I will work on them. We'll get
or like, you know, a Bordeaux wine, something like that, or Canadian ice wine casks are pretty good.
Niel, we're gonna have to let you go because for the first time ever, this is the first time ever we've scheduled 2 interviews in one podcast.
Is Rob awake yet?
Yeah, well, he might be. We got Rob and we got Connor, one of the distillers, but it's more because I can just, I mean, at some point we have to go to bed too. But the question, what I really wanted to ask,
I don't have to take the kids to ballet for another 3 hours. I'm okay.
Oh, okay. Well, let's keep going. We'll talk to Rob. Because normally we actually would have gone a lot longer, but we just did this because we were doing a new distillery episode, and we actually know Rob and Kelly Carpenter quite well from they live in Alberta part-time, right? So
right.
Anyways, I kind of, in a way, to me, and this might really irk you. I don't know if it will or not, but it's Aberargie is a little bit like, there's a little bit of Springbank there with what you guys are doing. There's an old school feel to it. There's Golden Promise barley. I'm not even sure if Springbank's using that. It's the barley to bottle thing. But it feels a little bit old school to me. It feels like you're making like an old school style whiskey where you're not an old school style, but it's just, there feels like an old school element there. Would you agree with that? And not the comparison.
I would take that as a massive compliment.
Yeah.
I mean, when we showed Aberargie for the first time in October at the whiskey show in London, one guy came up to me and he tasted it and he stood back and his words were, this feels considered. This feels considered, and it feels old. As in, I want to sit down and I want to appreciate this. I want to take my time with this. And that is the biggest compliment, because that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track. I honestly do. My last question for you: the first time.
Did you say Jeremy was running this, or are you?
No, Jeremy
taking it over.
Jeremy just does the introduction, but this is I don't get to chat with you in person very often. We text lots, but the this stuff just all excites me so much. But so the first time, and this has to be the last question, but the first time you sipped the final inaugural blend, and wherever that was, probably with your production team or whatever, but you get to taste it after, all these years of waiting, your whole journey to get to this point in terms of starting as a bartender, sales rep, you were a collector, all those things. And you sit there and you sip inaugural for the first time with your team. Just kind of give me an idea of what that felt like. Cause that's a friggin', I didn't get to do it, but I feel like it would have been an amazing experience.
Well,
it felt, sorry, can I interrupt? It felt cool for me sipping Aberargie here for the first time. Because I kind of feel like I was part of it from way back.
The first time tasting it was actually, at the distillery with grain, and a lot of sampling, and then we made a few adjustments right towards the end. But it's not until you bring it home and you drink it as one of our consumers would that you really go, okay, wow. But I mean, just talking about not just that first sip. I mean, the first sip out of a bottle, to me, the first sip, on launch day, we went into Edinburgh to a few bars and we purchased a dram of Aberargie. And for me, that was really cool to see it on shelf, and to sip it. And I would, the whole launch period, and I have to be careful how I phrase this and in which order I put it to Julia, my wife, but it was wedding day, childbirth, Aberargie launch. I mean, that's where it ranks in my highlight reel of my life.
Very cool.
So Jeremy finishes the interview, so I'll let him finish it off. But that's freaking cool. That's the answer I wanted to hear.
That is very cool. Niel, thank you so much for waking up and joining us. We know the time change can be a challenge. We do everything completely live. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we really loved the whiskey tonight. So we're excited about the Canada.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in about, 14 hours or so.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
The Aberargie
You're
Canadian
doing it again.
launch.
That's right.
And tell Rob I owe him a beer.
We'll let Rob know.
Sounds good. We will.
And I'm letting Sean run that interview because I talked way too much.
Good luck, Sean.
Congrats on all the success, Niel. Really proud of you. I'm really
thank you so much. And I hope to see you soon in Canada. So
yeah, please do come over.
Work on something. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Niel. We'll talk to you soon. All right, guys, we are back. We have our second interview for the podcast tonight. We have Rob and Connor. So Rob's the co-founder. Connor is one of the distillers at Holyrood Distillery. So we're going to bring these guys on, and I'm excited to chat with them. Here we go.
This is cool because we're going to get the production side from Connor, and we're going to get the entrepreneurial, how the hell do we build a distillery side from Rob?
Yeah,
which will be fun.
Which will be really cool.
Connor looks muted.
Connor is me there. Oh, he's back. He was being strategic. He was being strategic. Rob, Connor, thank you guys so much for joining us. We know it's early for you. We like to do everything live in this podcast, and we know sometimes that can present time challenges. So we appreciate you guys waking up and joining us today. So we actually tried the Holyrood Ambir as part of our tasting for this podcast. Really enjoyed the whiskey. Now, just kind of as we get going here, one of the things that we like to ask all of our guests is a little bit of an origin story. Can you guys tell us just a little bit about Holyrood, how it all got going? Like, how did you guys get to where you are today?
I sense Connor's looking at me for that.
I didn't work there when it opened, so
Smart guy came in afterwards.
Hey, Rob, you gotta start though, because we got a lot of Alberta listeners, so
All right.
you're gonna have to do just a quick Coles Notes, like the whole SMWS part too, I think.
All right. Well, let's start with a long time ago in Edmonton. I was born. So I'm an Edmonton guy, but not raised there. I was raised in Prince George, which folks from Edmonton will know, not that far away. And my wife Kelly and I now have our Canadian home in Calgary. Sorry about that for you Edmonton folks, but you got to live somewhere. SMWS, Kelly and I kind of got our start in the whiskey industry in about 15 years ago, because it's our 15th anniversary of SMWS Canada this year. And so we launched SMWS. For those of you who don't know, SMWS is sort of one of the world's leading independent bottlers, primarily cask strength, single cask whiskey, and from all over Scotland and from all over the world, really, at this point. So pretty cool brand, and a pretty interesting sort of membership club thing with venues for members, etc., in various places around the world. So carrying on from that to a certain extent, or at least in parallel to that, Kelly and I had lived in Edinburgh for a year in 2004, 2005. We kind of fallen into the whiskey hole in terms of going to lots of tastings, joining the Water of Life Society at the University of Edinburgh, just kind of getting into things, doing whiskey distillery visits and meeting people in the industry. And I thought, because I like a good project, how cool would this be to do when we got back to Canada? And gave that a go when we returned to Canada in the fall of 2005. Almost got it over the line. And then the financial crisis hits in 2007. A lot of investors got pretty nervous about what was going on. So, short story, that didn't go ahead. But I continued to think about where I would want to do a distillery if I was ever going to have that kind of opportunity. And I ultimately kind of landed on, well, Kelly and I love Edinburgh. We keep coming back here. We love Scotland. There's a lot of great things about doing a distillery in Scotland. At the time, other people were announcing projects, but a lot of them weren't going ahead. They got announced and you'd never heard about them again. So we thought, we can pull this off. We know some people. I've got some interesting background, and so we put a team together here, and we found a building, and we found investors, and we opened up Holyrood and started distilling in September of 2019. And you guys have been tasting the benefits of that, I hope. I won't go into how Holyrood's unique quite yet, because I think that's part of Connor's shtick. But yeah, there we are. There's the origin story.
Very, very cool.
And Connor, how did you come to work and obviously pull the levers and push the buttons at the distillery?
I was I'm Irish. I was a bartender for most of my adult life. So yeah, just cocktails and spirits of all sorts. But I came to Scotland on a holiday in 2017, and we did like the kind of whiskey tour up into the Highlands, Glendronach and Edgedower and a few others, and I just fell in love with the place. So I moved to Edinburgh about 6 months later, started working in whiskey bars here, and yeah, just really fell in love with whiskey. And then during the pandemic, I did some online courses, and a job came up in 2021 as a trainee distiller. And so yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. That these aren't the kinds of things that come up very often, and certainly not in a city. If you're hanging around in the space side, there's trainee distiller jobs come up every day of the week. I don't know, but yeah, it was just two places, myself and my colleague Jane got in. So yeah, I was really lucky. Yeah, my colleague Jane is a microbiologist. So I feel like whatever I was bringing to the table was maybe not quite on the level that she was, but yeah, I certainly had the enthusiasm anyway. So yeah, and from there we just kind of got stuck in. It's a particularly exciting distillery anyway. I'd been to a lot of distilleries, and if I'm honest, it looked like a kind of a dull factory job. You see guys working in distilleries that kind of pulling levers, pressing buttons, but yeah, this one was like really hands-on, and every day is different, every mash is different. It was really exciting, and I learned a huge amount. So yeah, that was 2021, so 5 years ago, just last week actually, and yeah, it's been incredible. So I'm senior distiller now, so it's kind of a sharp rise. I've learned how to pull levers and press buttons, I think. So yeah, that's me today.
Very cool, man. While we have you, can we ask some of the nerdy questions?
I'd be delighted, yeah.
On what you guys do. So can you talk to me a little bit about style of the stills, fermentation times? I'm always interested in give us just kind of the down low on some of that stuff.
Sure. Our stills are it's worth looking them up online. They're really tall. So if you can probably picture Glenmorangie's stills. So very similar sort of shape. Their line arm is horizontal, ours is descending. And ours are a bit smaller. That's about the only real difference. Otherwise, they look very similar. Importantly, we have what's called a purifier on our spirit still. There's not a huge number of those in the industry. And it's kind of a mystery box. I've talked to a lot of distillers about what happens there, what it does, but essentially it's just more reflux.
Right.
So you're going to get more of the lighter elements coming through, fruity, floral notes. So it kind of the standard spirit, if you will, our house style is kind of it's quite a sweet spirit, I think, just naturally, and it's certainly very fruity. We We change our cuts kind of per recipe. So it's something I suppose it's normal in the Americas, but in Scotland, obviously, it's very unusual to have a recipe, really, and certainly not in a single malt distillery. So importantly, that's our defining feature, is that we have a mash bill, all with malt, and still kind of classed as Scotch single malt, but we will use different kinds of malt. So heritage malts, chocolate malt, caramel malt, crystal malt. So these are basically malts that are malted in different ways. There's kind of ranging in toastedness normally. We also use a lot of different yeasts. So we will change our cut points kind of according to the recipe. We'll do it by tasting by nose and kind of on a case by case situation. Fermentation times, they vary a lot, actually. Because we use different yeasts, they require different things, some need quite long fermentation periods, and some are really quick. Like our distilling yeast can pretty much ferment all the sugars in the washback in about 48 hours. Mm-hmm. But some of our let's say wine yeasts or sake yeast will take maybe 2 weeks. So we've got to allow that flexibility, and thankfully we have that. If on a kind of a standard thing, we run 5 days a week. So for 2 of those days, it's going to be a longer fermentation. So kind of towards the end of the week, it's the longer fermentation going into the following week. So that would be, I think, Brookladdy do something very similar. They work on a 5-day schedule. So yeah, they're kind of long and short. So at kind of full capacity, it averages about 75 hours, something like that. But it's not unusual for us to do sometimes up to 330 hours. And stuff is pretty funky. Yeah.
I got a quick question on that, Connor. When you're doing a long fermentation, like when you're casking that spirit, are you noting, like, is it known on those casks, like, okay, this was a long fermentation, this is a short fermentation, so that whenever you're ready to bottle, like, you're noting all that. So each cask, you specifically know, okay, this was this fermentation, this was this one.
It depends a bit. Well, I mean, a distillery is only as good as its record keeping. So, like, we obviously record everything. So yeah, I mean, we can definitely trace where which cask was which mash and all that. But so yeah, in that case, yes. But I think if, let's say we were doing a long run of the same recipe, and you have like that kind of variation throughout the week, we normally vat everything. So we'll put like 7 mashes together, and that so it kind of averages out and gets a more consistent profile. Because I mean, there is a bit of a difference, I think the shortest might be 50 hours, and the longest in that kind of scenario would be about 115. So there's a bit of variation there. So we vat it all wherever possible.
Very cool. It's when we were tasting through the whiskeys for tonight, I said that Holyrood was, I think, my enthusiast pick of the three. As we were kind of reading through some of the details on what you guys do, I was like, see, this would be cool stuff to sit down with an enthusiast and be like, yeah, they're new, but check all this stuff out that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And this is just confirming everything for me. So it's very cool.
Yeah, like I said, I've obviously bought the first 3 releases that came here, and like you have the Arrival, which was obviously the first one, and then Travis has it, and then there was the peated release, and now then there was the amber. And for a new distillery and a new brand to launch 3 bottles one after another that are completely different is such a cool way to do it. Because, you know, somebody may just like, when I got the amber, I was like, okay, it was on sale. I was like, okay, I'll grab it. But I already had the base knowledge, obviously, knowing Rob and Kelly a little bit. And, you know, the first one I may have bought it just because I know them. But then I was like, okay, I dove into it and saw, okay, wow, you know, like they're doing such different things each time. So you never know what you're going to get with it. And it's totally, for a whiskey nerd like us, like it's perfect for us. When you do peated malts, do you go deeper into the cuts to get that kind of not super tailsy, but like the super funky peatiness out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good example of just how you have to change your techniques, you know, mash by mash. So yeah, absolutely. You'll find kind of in the latter end of the cut, deeper into the cut, you'll find more cereal notes, and because the phenols kind of attached to the outside of the barley kernel, that's what comes through later. So if you find the same kind of malty cereal notes in the same place in the cut that you find the peatiness, let's say. So they're kind of together. But what we also found, this was partly through we worked with a PhD student called Rutel, and she was studying specialty malts. So that's your chocolate malt, your caramel malt, and crystal malt and such. And she found that you also get those kind of toasted flavors from specialty malt later in the cut as well. So when we're using specialty malt, we'll often cut deeper too, and get those kind of toasted burnt notes or kind of charred toast flavors, you know.
We're gonna have to bring in Rob at some point, but Connor, we got to keep asking questions. Sorry, Rob, but
It's all right.
I'm here for it.
Holyrood is the distillery for geeks. It really is.
It is, and that's so. I guess I should have known that, knowing that you guys were part of it, Kelly and Rob. But what I said when we were reviewing the 3 whiskeys. So tonight we did Nc'Nean Quiet Rebels Gordon, we did the Holyrood Ambir, and we did Aberargie, and then we just interviewed Niel Hendriksz, who I've known for a long time. He said he owes you a beer, Rob, for staying on a little bit long. So to hold him up to that.
I think I owe him a beer. They did a favor for us a number of months ago with some disgorging that we needed to do. And they kind of went, well, sure, we can help. So, yeah, no, he and I actually have been trying to get together for a beer for a number of months. But flu season and a few other things have gotten in the way of that.
Well, it's if everything goes according to plan, you and him and Kelly might be at Drams for Fams next year. So we'll talk about that later off the podcast. Kelly may have talked to me.
They're flying us over.
Yeah.
You guys have to promise to sing at karaoke, though. That's the one thing.
Yeah, we do have a karaoke aspect now.
I can do happy birthday.
Yeah. The question that when we were drinking through the whiskeys and we talked about and we went through your distillery, and I said it almost feels a little bit like Loch Lomond-esque, and not that you have column stills and everything like that, but that you are from the get-go producing so many different styles and so many different flavor profiles. And again, this, I think a lot goes back to your SMWS background and the flavor profiles and stuff. But Connor, just as a distiller, how friggin' fun is it? And like you kind of already alluded to it, but going into work and just knowing that it's not a factory, you're not using the same malt from Simpson's Maltings every single day. Every day you're going in, you're like, we'll see what we're making today, and it's going to be new smells in the distillery, and you know what I mean. I guess I just want to know what that's like for you, because it feels like it'd be pretty friggin' cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's huge. Like I say, I was an enthusiast before I started in the industry. So yeah, starting there was really exciting. Anyway, just trying to be able to get behind the kind of red tape and have a look at the production side really in depth. That alone was exciting. It's like I say, the smells and the tastes and everything. But yeah, like I talked to other distillers and they're kind of blown away by how varied it is. I've almost gotten used to it, not quite, but almost gotten used to it now. But it is incredible. Like there are times where we may have 3 or 4 different recipes in the distillery at the same time. So we've got 6 washbacks, and I might have a few different recipes there. So you could open a washback and get like intense fruitiness or like a real dark coffee. It's hugely exciting. And like constantly as well, trying to try something else. And I mean, we've tried. I would say that we've tried most things at this stage, that are within the SWA guidebook, but and a few things that are probably not quite. But it's really exciting to be able to kind of see what's out there and try new things, see what yeasts are available, and give them a go, and kind of learn how to work with them, because they're all so different as well. And so like there was I think some of the more exciting ones were things like the wine yeasts, like Burgundy yeast especially. Like just even in the washback, it's so intensely raspberry flavors that you're getting. Just from when you open the washback, that's so unusual. It's not something you think of in a new make. Never mind anything else. So, yeah, it's really interesting. And yeah, I would. Whenever we'd open malt as well, I'd always taste some, just trying to get stuck into it, and kind of seeing how that comes through in the spirit as well. So you've got the raw ingredients which smell or taste a certain way into the washback. What they're doing there, how it kind of progresses throughout that time, and then the spirit itself. And then, obviously it's years later before you get to try the whiskey, but, seeing if those things still carry on or not, or how they develop. It's really exciting. And also kind of not really being able to compare notes with anyone. There's a lot of the stuff, I think we're some of the first to do it. And certainly at any scale. So you can't really, there's no one to ask. There's no one to say, "Oh, are you finding with the sake yeast it's like really acidic or anything?" It's just I don't know. We'll try it. We'll see what happens. That worked great. That didn't work. Okay, well we'll try something else. So yeah, really exciting and really fun. It has a slight kind of homebrewers feel to it sometimes. You're just like, okay, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we'll try it. Hopefully something delicious at the other end.
I love that.
So researching this episode, we obviously try and find out as much information that Google will allow us. And it said that the motto is test, learn, improve, repeat. Now, obviously, when you're doing such experimental things, not everything's going to 100% work out. Is there anything that you've tested, learned, and then had to really improve and maybe not been able to bottle, or, you just said, okay, this may be good in casks 12 years from now, so you just put it at the back of the warehouse? Is there anything like that that's come up?
Full of brick laddie, just throw everything into crazy wine casks in 15, 20 years.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just like, that's the blender's problem. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I look, there is. I mean, like, thankfully, I suppose there are a few things, that there are very few things that would make for a really bad whiskey, in my opinion. You know, but there are things that don't work. That's also true. So let's say one of them. So the thing's called killer yeast. So like we co-pitch our yeast basically. So we'll have a distilling yeast, and that gives us the alcohol and the yield, and it kind of suppresses bacteria a bit. And then we'll have a specialty yeast or several different ones, and that kind of gives us a hit of flavor, that we're looking for. And sometimes they play together very well, and they kind of enhance each other. Other times they don't. And champagne yeast is one of those ones that doesn't. It's what's called a killer yeast. So basically it will try and poison the washback to remove any other competition. So that happens. So the first time we used champagne yeast, we had really, really poor yields. And, you know, I mean, I think normally we would get about, maybe 500 litres of pure alcohol from a single run. And with the champagne yeast, it was more like 250. So like really, really bad.
Wow.
So I mean, we've learned to work with that a little bit. So, you know, you can kind of pitch one a little earlier than the other and try and do it that way. But so things like that happen. I mean, you can sometimes kind of predict if it will, but it does happen. You know, there are also things like you know, there's a lot of products out there that you know, they're made for brewing really, and in brewing you can kind of add extra enzymes, you can add acids, things like this. You can kind of manipulate the washback in the process. Obviously in single malt Scotch we can't do any of that, so we're really at the mercy of of nature, you know, and you just kind of have to hope it works out really. One of the other things actually is some of the heritage malts. So these are malts like Chevalier, which was like really popular in the turn of the 20th century, and was kind of the main barley grown, and that over time kind of that was replaced by other things. One of those things was Plumage Archer, which has great flavor. Really lovely malt, but very hard to work with. It kind of turns to like a porridge in a mash tun, so you know it just seems to suck up all the water and hold on to it. So it means that like getting that out of the mash tun after a mash is really difficult. It was a long night. Let's put it that way. You know. Going in on the back shift, and you know, you said, okay, well, we should be out of here at 8 p.m. and it's like 10, 11, you know, still trying to empty that mash tun. So, we learned things there as well. But you know, I mean, in saying that, like these are kind of process difficulties, and I will say, like both of those whiskies turn out superb. So, you know, it's a bit of a lottery, you know.
It sounds like a few rye nightmares we've heard from some distillers in Ireland and Alberta that we know, where they've had that rye just absolute nightmare. That's just what you just talked about with that porridge and everything.
Yeah.
Heard some pretty funny stories about working with different grains and stuff.
Yeah, apparently the guys from Nc'Nean did one with oats as well, an oat whiskey, and that apparently was a nightmare as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's a learning curve, you know. And I think also, you know, the equipment we have is made for malt, you know, for a certain kind of malt and milled a certain way. And I think when you go putting things like oats and rye in there, it's you can really meets challenges, to put it mildly. But yeah, there you go.
It's very cool, man. It's like everything you're saying. I'm loving the whole approach. Like you keep slinging things like, hopefully this works out. And it's just a level of, let's try this and see what happens. And I love that approach with what you guys are doing. Rob, I'm going to ask you a question here, and we'll bring you back into this because we've been talking about nerdy things for a while. So you have a whiskey out in the world now. Tell me how the early days have been. Like, what does that feel like for you?
Well, yes, 6 years plus after we started. I'm still a little surreal, in fact, to walk through the distillery, particularly if no one else is around, and go, this actually exists now. So I'm not sure I'll ever quite get used to that. But I'm really proud of what we're doing. It has been a tough road, and for any young distillery, it would be. But I don't want to. You got to sort of take the Canadian approach and go, crap, it snowed again. I just got to get out and get it done. So. It keeps, there's been a fair amount of, snowstorms between opening this and today, with COVID coming along 5 months after we opened. And, one thing we haven't talked about is that, Holyrood is very, very centrally located in Edinburgh, and that's for a reason. We wanted tourists to come through, and visitors, and get that brand engagement, and alongside that, there's revenue that comes with that, right. And that part of the business plan all disappeared almost right out of the gate, and took a few years to come back. And you've got crazy dictators invading other countries and firing up energy rates. And I won't tell you which ones. Let's not go into that. But Brexit, inflation, cost, you name it. It's been a chaotic time, and so it has been, a bit of a challenging road. But yeah, I'm very proud of the liquid we've put out. You guys, have tried Arrival and Ambir and Ambra, and the one that I'm, they're all your children. You don't have favorites, I guess, but the one that didn't get to Canada is Pitch, and Pitch is just over my shoulder here. In fact. Pitch is a very, very malt-forward, just unctuous, delicious dram. And I'm really kind of bummed that it never got to Canada, because some of our releases are not that big. Right. There are 6,000 or 7,000 bottles, and Pitch in particular got snapped up pretty quickly. And then we've done a number of single cask bottlings, and that's, in many ways, it's two factors there. It's the society influence, right? Because we love our single casks, and it is the innovation influence, because we've got so many different things, and the influence of specialty malts and heritage malts and the yeast, etc., and what we do from a production perspective tend to create a lot of flavor early on in a liquid, and allows us to release something that's pretty delicious at a young age. And that's allowed us to do some really, really interesting single casks. So, yeah, it's been exciting. I'm really proud of what we've done. Would I do it again? Well, it doesn't matter, because 2020 hindsight Doesn't, you don't get to redo these decisions. So we are where we are. We'll keep, we're having fun. I love that the distillers really enjoy coming in and figuring stuff out. We keep learning along the way, and we'll keep going.
Very
I actually had the visitor center written down as a question, Rob, because I watched the tour on YouTube today. I just enter, anytime we're having an interview, I enter the distillery in YouTube and I just try and do a little bit of research. The distillery looks friggin' beautiful. The brick, the old school, like every video taken from inside, it just feels like you're in an old school Edinburgh building. Now that COVID's passed and things have kind of gotten back to normal, other than dictators that will not be named, is the visitor center doing well? Because I feel like for the first distillery in Edinburgh in over 100 years, it has to be doing well, but is it doing well?
It is doing well, absolutely. Now that, COVID is in the rearview mirror, knock on wood. There's been some continued challenges with just cost of living, etc. But the visitor center is doing well. We are, it's a tough time for the industry right now in terms of spirit volume sold. People are holding on to the money. Chaos leads to caution, right? So, the visitor center is a really valuable asset for us in that we continue to that side of the business really is supporting a lot. So it is doing well. It's top 10 on TripAdvisor or whatever, our brand home director has her goal this year of figuring out the algorithm on TripAdvisor and getting it to a 4.9 from a 4.8. So, nice to have goals.
These things matter. When I'm looking for recipes, a 4.9, I'll always go to over a 4.8. So
yeah, of course. That 0.1 really ticks the box. So, we've won lots of awards for the visitor center and for the experience. Overall the distillery, we've had lots of awards for the liquid, but the distillery itself, we were really tough to win Global Distillery of the Year, March of last year, from the World Whiskey Awards, which is, a pretty comprehensive kind of process of whittling down distilleries all across the world. And, for a distillery that has only been open for 5 minutes, essentially in the grand scheme of the Scotch whiskey industry, that's pretty amazing to me. And it just speaks to people do respond to people who are trying different things and are really focused on flavor. Because that's, all the geekiness, is fun to talk about, but that's really where it comes down to. It's all about flavor.
100%.
Yeah, so true. Obviously, we've ran into each other at festivals and, been handed little sample bottles on side by side. And last year at Banff, I did a 12 whiskey, all single grain tasting. And I look up and there you guys are in my tasting. And I was just blown away. You guys did donate a bottle to it, a 32-year-old Cambus, which blew me away. Awesome. And I was able to secure another bottle this year of it. But thank you so much for what you're doing. I think doing what Holyrood's doing is something special. You're not, making one specific style and just sitting on that and aging it. Obviously, you're going to age some of the stuff. Some of the stuff that you've produced, we will never see for, 10, 15 years, just knowing that it has to age out some of the imperfections that get put in. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks, Connor, for all the nerdy insights.
John, don't.
My last question is:
Okay.
Do you have a spot that we can set up an on-location podcast to record?
Depending on time of day, yes, absolutely. And Travis mentioned, the building. It's a 200-year-old building, which is not that unusual in Edinburgh, but for we Canadians, that is pretty amazing. And it's an old railway goods shed. That is a big old industrial building that was built 200 years ago, and I like to tell this story. There's a body in Scotland called Historic Environment Scotland, which is really there to protect the built heritage of the country. And they are, when it comes to heritage buildings like ours, they are a required consultee on any planning approvals. What's the impact on the heritage of the building, etc. And when it came to our planning application, they're often a bit of a barrier because they say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And with us, the comment that came back was, we're supportive because this brings an industrial building back to an industrial use. And, we're quite proud of that. We've not tried to make the distillery pretty. It's a working distillery. But it's got its own kind of industrial charm. If any of you are over in Edinburgh, please let us know ahead of time and we'll be happy to show you through. And can do a podcast from there if you want.
You got Wi-Fi in that 200-year-old building? Is Wi-Fi in there?
The Wi-Fi back then wasn't that good, so it might be a little shaky, but of course we have Wi-Fi.
And then I have to ask, because you talked about single cast, and obviously you have some distillery single cast. And are you selling to independent bottlers at all? Because I think we may know an independent bottler in common, and I think it'd be really cool to do a Holyrood single cask through said independent bottler at some point, if you were to do some sort of thing like that.
Yeah, we have sold casks to independent bottlers. We will continue to do that. I think there's a little bit of reluctance with some distillers to do that. Obviously, with Kelly's and my background with SMWS, I feel that independent bottlers can get your spirit out there to an audience that you might not otherwise reach. And if that interests people in going to the proprietary brand and trying that, then that's great. That's beating a path to your door. So we have sold to independent bottlers. We have SMWS has casks of Holyrood, and in fact, for our 15th anniversary, we had wanted them to release a cask of Holyrood, but the spirits team at SMWS is very, very careful, and so they kind of went, it's coming along great, but it's not quite ready. So that's not going to happen for our 15th anniversary, and that's fine. I mean, obviously, we want to make sure that liquid is delicious when it is released. But there have been independent bottlers, Fragrant Drops, Claxtons, etc., that have released Holyroods already, and that's great. And they've both been any of the independent bottlers that I've tried of Holyrood. I'm biased, obviously, but they've been delicious.
Well, I was going to say, as a member of SMWS here, obviously, we've got the gin in Canada from SMWS. But yeah, I keep every month. I keep waiting for a Holyrood single malt to come through.
Well, don't hold your breath because you'll eventually pass out. It's going to be a little while.
That's totally fine.
We may find another way at some point. We'll figure it out. Thank you two so much. Connor, if we come and tour the distillery, will request you as our tour guide.
Yeah.
And We want to stir the mash. We want to run the still.
Yeah. Mix our own mash because you just want to try everything.
Yeah, we just get to pick our own malt, our own yeast, whatever. You just
Hey, we do all kinds of contract distilling for people, and that's exactly what happens. Our first cask program for private cask owners was, you tell us what you want, we'll make it, which was an absolute nightmare for our distillers and from an operational perspective. And God knows no distillery should ever do that again. But, from a steep learning curve, it's great.
I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
There's not many distilleries in Scotland that can say they're doing that. That's amazing.
Can't recommend it, but we nearly broke a few distillers, I think. But there we are.
Amazing. Well, guys, thank you again so much for accommodating the timing, joining us on the podcast. We loved having you, learning about what you guys are doing. And I said earlier, we tried the amber tonight and we all really enjoyed it. So we're excited to see what's to come from Holyrood Distillery.
Well, you're very welcome.
Cheers, you guys. Connor, Rob, thank you so much.
Cheers. Nice to meet you. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You know what was super cool is how Aberargie and Holyrood, and they're helping each other out. Like Rob's like, I got to buy him a beer. He's got a beer. But they're doing two completely different things.
Yeah.
And we got to hear two completely different approaches to starting a distillery. And I honestly think both of them could make it. I hope they both make it because they're both bringing completely different products. I mean, Aberargie, I feel like every whiskey that comes from them, we're going to have a pretty good idea of what we're getting.
Yeah.
Holyrood, I feel like we have no fucking clue what we're going to get. And it's fun and interesting.
Yeah, they could come out of left field and be like, we tried this thing and it just fucking worked.
Yeah.
So we bottled it. Yeah.
That was cool. That was a really fun interview listening to Connor talk about every day's different here. No, Rob was great. Rob was really good.
But like awesome. you know as well as I do, like usually
he can be pretty quiet. I think he might be a little bit of an introvert actually.
Yeah, when it's the two of them, it's Kelly 100%, Rob nothing. But yeah, like no, to hear his passion showed through, which is awesome. Like,
oh man,
I thought he did great tonight, man.
Oh yeah,
some of his answers were fantastic.
Yeah.
No, and like you said, two completely opposite sides of the spectrum of how to make whiskey, and both work.
Yeah, super cool.
I feel like the Single Cask Nation guys would want a cool bottle because they did say they have access to the casks, but they're allowed to pick stuff that maybe SMWS might not pick. So maybe they'll be like, no, we think this is a cool, funky whiskey. We want to bottle it. I think it would be really cool to do a Holyrood Single Cask Nation that we could sell here because the whole
it would be cool.
How we all know each other is very cool.
Yeah.
Well, and like they make peated stuff. Their peated whiskey is actually pretty good. And if they have like a heavily peated, super funky that, it might be a little young for SMWS, but Single Cask Nation pulls it.
They like kind of a little bit more different stuff than SMWS might. And that's what kind of is cool is they're picking from the same warehouse, but they do have very different palates.
Yeah, exactly.
That was fun. I really didn't know how it was going to go interviewing back-to-back new distilleries.
Totally.
But because the approach is so different, it was really cool to see the contrast.
Yeah, it was very cool. I loved both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay, let's wrap this up. New distillery, we did all that. Whiskey Club shout out. Oh, guys, got a good one today. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
This year's Whiskey Club of the Month in Canada is the Red Deer Whiskey Club. Run by my boy Lars.
Yeah.
Lars and I chat a lot. Jerry, you know him. Sean, you know him. Yeah. He is so enthusiastic, so passionate about all this stuff. I thought I ran a good whiskey club. I do not. Lars runs a good whiskey club. I'm an amateur compared to Lars. Founded in 2019, so 4 years after the Edmonton Scotch Club. 85 members in Red Deer. They've done casks. The only 3 casks they've done so far is 3 McAloney's casks. So I'm guessing they were all probably the smaller. McAloney's was doing like the smaller versions.
Right.
Do they have pins like these?
They don't. No, they might. They might. This isn't a contest, Sean.
No. We love Lars. I've been trying to go down to one of their tastings for so long, and they always seem to fall when I'm at work or, I just can't. But yeah, one day we'll go down together.
It's fun. It's a good night out. There's always a meal. They bring in catering from some restaurant in town. They do have a Tullabarton cask coming. Yes. I committed to a bottle of it. A good price point too. They do 7 core events a year and then 2 to 5 special events. They have a big fundraiser for United Way. They raise like way more money than Drabs for Fams. It's crazy how much money they raise.
Really?
Crazy. We go and pour. PWS has been there the last several years. Dave was there last year. It's awesome. It's cool. Huge. Their VIP tasting is like $300 or $400 a person, and they pour crazy shit.
I believe that.
Yeah,
I do believe awesome. That. Yeah.
They're tied to they do like 2 to 3 different whiskey events or with charity whiskey events a year, not just the United Way. So Lars has the heart of gold. He's runs a tight ship, but it's an awesome ship. And if you're anywhere near Red Deer, come to an event.
I wish my whiskey club brother knew about that when he lived over there.
Well, I don't know if he'd be allowed in. I told you Lars runs a pretty tight ship. He might
shout. Yeah, I don't even let my brother into my house. So
the other cool thing, the Red Deer Whiskey Club and Lars always supports the smaller importers and the smaller agencies. Yes. With the whiskey, Lee Hansen, Barrel Hunter, Lee Hansen. He brings him in. He brings Andy Dunn. He brings us. He brings Kenny and Carnmore and Rare Drams. Like he really likes to support the small agencies, awesome. Which I love. So yeah, the Red Deer Whiskey Club. Sean, tasting kits.
Yeah, so our last tasting kits, which were had the Irish in it. As of today, April 25th now, there is 5 left, but those will be sold out by the time this airs. And
Irish and Japan.
No, Japan's with this one.
Yeah, Japan's with new distillery.
What was it? Irish and what? With who?
Irish and
we got to figure this out because we need to sell these last 5 kits. Need to sell.
Was it the North Star?
Yeah,
Glenbergie
and Indies.
Yeah, so
5 and 6 Indies and Irish. Oh yeah, with those
and Irish. Yeah. So that's a good kit actually.
You get to taste. Okay, guys, go buy those kits. $55, 6 crazy good different whiskeys.
And our friends at Bushmills, the local importer company. Well,
right.
Local, it's Proximo. They donated a pair of socks and a Glencairn to go with every tasting kit. That was never mentioned really, but they're still there. Go get one.
Bushmills stuff. Isn't this the one with the Last Call Whiskey podcast pins too?
No, the new one is this one.
New one.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one, as of the airing of this episode, there's a new kit available. Has last month's Japanese whiskeys, this month's 3 new distillery whiskeys, and you get
the first people to get a Last Call Whiskey podcast pin.
The first people outside of us to get a pin.
Look at that thing; it's beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Last Call Whiskey podcast.
Oh my god. Lockie's teacher has a pin. I told him that.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, the pins have gone over well. We probably have to order a new batch soon, but no. Yeah, you get one with a kit. So you get to try Aberargie, the new release, the Holyrood Ambir, Nc'Nean Quiet Rebels Gordon, and
And the three Japanese,
and the 3 Japanese.
which we said, like, you need to try those Japanese whiskeys and decide for yourself.
Like, if there's a kit that we've put out through Whiskey Drop that people should buy, it's this one. Because guaranteed, these are 6 whiskeys that most people have not tried yet.
Totally. And most people don't have a pin, aka nobody.
Yeah,
Except Lockie's teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Lockie's teacher and us.
And us.
And us.
Actually, I gave 5 to YD Whiskey Nights for an upcoming event at the Freemasons Hall.
I may have handed out some to our, well, the McBrides. They helped us out big time on the night of the main event.
Yeah.
They have pins.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it then. No more tasting kits. Buy them. Parting glass.
Wait.
Oh,
Do you guys need anything tonight?
well, that can be part of parting glass. That's usually what
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Jeremy just puts it on loop, and then we just talk, and then the parting glass music goes on repeat. Usually,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I'm eating popcorn, just like good old fashioned chicka pop from coffee.
Okay, that looks good. I
Oh,
was
you need-
Wow.
Yeah.
So my wife and girls, they invested in an old school air popper. Man, that is popcorn.
Yeah, the old beige ones. It's the best.
Oh
yeah.
It's
Dude, I got one
now.
of, where'd they
Can't
get
beat
it?
that.
I have no idea.
I got
Amazon.
mine at a garage sale 10 years
Thrift
ago.
store. Yeah.
Yeah. But like little bit of melted butter in the microwave and then
Yeah.
Lots of salt. So much salt.
yeah, but we have dill salt. And
Whoa.
oh my god, yeah. Now that's not my snack for tonight. My snack for tonight, I ran into what's the Harvest Crunch? Is that the multigrain chips?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honey barbecue.
Oh.
I opened the bag last night when I was like by myself sitting on the couch, wondering if my 4-hour nap was going to screw over my actual bed, sleep at night, which it didn't. It didn't at all.
Yeah.
And I cracked that bag last night, and I got a bowl sitting here. They're way too crunchy to eat during a podcast, so I'm gonna go sit on the couch, watch the Oilers highlights of their stupid loss.
They
lost. Bad.
We can't do that. We can't talk about it. Jared, what are you eating?
Sorry. I devoured goldfish crackers during our interviews.
Hell yeah.
They're all gone, and I wish I had got double the packs that I did because I could keep.
You know that you've been working late hours in crazy places when you're throwing down a bag of goldfish
crackers. It's
when your body
so
tells you
true.
this is all I need, you know you've been working hard.
That is so true. They always end up like at your side through those times. The goldfish crackers.
What's happening in May, dudes? Anything going on? Any events?
I have a big one for May. I am heading over to Ireland the end of the month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so with my dad, his wife, me, my son, and my brother and his son. So when we were growing up, my dad did trips with us. For us, we were 13. So we would head over to Ireland. Our family's from the Annalong. We're from Annalong, Northern Ireland. And so my dad took us over when we were young, and he wants to continue the tradition with our kids now. So we are going over. I'm just in this. I'm super lucky that my older brother and I have kids the same age. So we get to all go on the trip together, which is amazing. So that's going to be great. I was just talking with Shane yesterday, and we have locked in dates for visiting Two Stacks Warehouse on our way north. We fly in and out of Dublin. And then we're driving north. We're hitting Two Stacks on our way north. And then on our way back south to Dublin, we're going through Annalong along the Carlingford Loch. We're going to hit Cullowen on our way back down and get to see both of them. So I'm super excited for that.
Unreal.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Are they taking? I thought you were going to go to BANTER Distillery. Maybe not happening.
To Bowen?
Yeah, with Shane.
Oh, I'm not sure. I know he, like, when I first talked to him, he was like, I want to do all the things with you. and I was like, it's really not my trip. It's my dad's trip. So I was like, we have some days that I know we're traveling through that we can stop and hang out. If it was just me, I would just be like, Shane, you plan fucking everything. I'll just go wherever you want to go. I know he wants to take us to a brewery in Annalong as well. So we'll see how much we get done. But
Jared, have you ever gone to Newgrange?
no.
Dude, for the couple hour detour it is, and it's like next to the town that Bowen is in.
Yeah.
But that place was literally life changing. Like, you're running your hand across carvings in this tunnel that are older than the pyramids in Egypt and Stonehenge.
So cool.
And like, they fake the lighting that happens on the winter equinox, but you get to like see what it's like. Man, like, we went and immediately entered the lottery to get to go for the winter solstice, and said if we won the lottery, we would fly there just for that. Like, that place is insane.
Okay.
And it's so worth the little detour.
I'm gonna check that out.
Jared's going to Ireland. I'm going to Japan. I'll be there. I'll be in Japan when you're in Ireland.
Yeah, I think we're away the same time.
Yeah. And I'm going to Chichibu Distillery for one day. My wife and kids are going to do their own thing. Michael Pang, that we interviewed on the Japanese episode, right? We already talked about this. So I'll go to Chichibu. Other than that, I'll be just family stuff, no whiskey stuff. But that's what we're going there for.
I'll be in Fort Hills, Alberta. I'll be making the oil that turns into gasoline that you guys' planes will use. And since you guys are gone, I'll just work some overtime probably.
Sounds good. What's
Sounds
the
like
time difference between Japan and Ireland? You're gonna work it out.
Jesus. I don't know, but Jared, did you hear? Alberta, no more time changes.
I heard that on the radio yesterday. That's great news.
It's good news for this podcast. We would have been fucked.
We would have been so fucked with the podcast.
Now it's 2 hours difference for half the year, and
Yeah.
Jared has no idea what if he's
Would have ended the podcast for sure.
It would have been the nail
Already-
often.
It's already hard enough coordinating this stuff.
Totally.
Well, between your guys' trips, my work schedule, yeah, it's like it worked out that we're 6 days before the end of the month. So Jeremy has 6 days. Next month he has like 22 days to edit.
Yeah, that's
When
right.
we asked Rob about recording a podcast in the distillery, he's like, "Well, it depends what time you'd like to record."
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna stick with our schedule and go at 6 a.m.
Yeah, you're not recording at 6 a.m. there.
It depends what time. A little back.
I think Connor went into work. He was at the distillery for sure. The concrete wall behind him.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think so.
All right, let's wrap this up. I really enjoyed that episode, guys. That was fun. I learned a ton about 3 new distilleries.
Yeah.
And Jeremy almost fell asleep for the first time on an episode.
Fighting
Well, and like
my life.
through this episode, we reconnected with 2 old friends and made a new friend.
Connor, our new best friend.
Well, I guess two new friends. Annabelle from Nc'Nean.
Well, we didn't meet her yet. We tried to meet her, but
We've talked to her.
yes, no. Connor's our new best friend.
Connor's our best friend.
You don't
He's
tell me.
Irish and he's living in Edinburgh.
I know. I
And
was like,
making-
I was like, this guy's unreal.
If we go to Holyrood Distillery, don't tell me Connor's not going out to party with us after. He's
Karaoke.
partying with us.
We'll find karaoke.
Exactly. Connor will be at karaoke. I can count. He's Irish and living in. He's going to be at karaoke.
Yeah.
Connor, you're invited. You better be there.
And Travis will make sure you sing.
Yeah.
Everyone, you have to sing one song before you leave. That's the
That's the rule. You
One
can't
song.
go home.
If you're in a karaoke bar, you sing one song, then you leave. No one is too proud to sing one song.
No, it's our employee Adrian lived in Japan, Trav. He said karaoke is massive over there.
Dude, I'm gonna sing so much karaoke over there.
As long as they have Tragically Hip.
I think he told me that like a lot of the karaoke bars, you get super cheap drinks if you're there, like hanging out and singing.
Drinks anywhere but Canada are cheaper than Canada. Like, we paid the most.
We were paying $8.50 for a Guinness, and we were like, yes.
Yeah, that was cheap.
$8.50 a Guinness. Did I tell you about when I bought what was it? It was a Miller High Life Tall Boy at the Shoresy Classic at Rogers Place. $28.
Jeez.
Like you can buy a fucking entire case of Miller High Life at the liquor store for $28. And I bought one. So yeah, you're right. We pay more than anywhere else in the world
For booze.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, anyone who's still listening. Next episode is the bourbon episode.
Bourbon.
Oh yeah, bourbon.
It's the Doug Ford tribute episode. We should try and get him on as a guest. We should at least reach out and try and get him on to talk about the tariffs and see what he says.
Maybe he'll come do it in person and fly on his private jet if he hasn't.
His PJ. He's got a PJ now. It's no problem. He'll be here in 3 hours.
Fox News, CDC, Last Coast podcast. That's his media tour.
Yeah, we got 3 really cool bourbons to try: Bardstown Original, Buzzard's Roost Bottle and Bond, and J. Henry and Sons La Flamme Reserve Armagnac finish.
Armagnac finish. I was looking at that.
It's more. We're just going to talk about. We got to talk about bourbon. It's a fun category to talk about.
It is fun. Yeah,
we're going to talk about it. We're going to debate. Sean's probably going to get mad.
Maybe he'll grind a malt. Maybe he'll grind a really big malt.
Okay.
Sean will grind a malt. We probably won't buy anything anyway.
Do you two realize that if I don't actually end the podcast, you guys would do this until 3 a.m.? If it's not me being a dick, you guys would just keep. We've been parting the glass for 15 minutes, and I'm trying to end it, and you're just, and it'll happen. Yeah, what do you
Last month, was it last month or the one before where you had to fly in the morning?
Yeah, I just left.
And me and Jeremy stayed on for like an hour and a half.
Did you?
Yeah, we did. We could talk forever.
We can end the recording and keep talking.
Sean and I did a Bushmills live one time that we talked about the Bushmills for 20 minutes, and then it was so long, and we got talking about everything like Area 51 and UFOs.
It was awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Derek's gonna wrap it up now.
I'm gonna wrap it up now. I just wanted to steal it from you. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you guys all, and we will see you on the next episode. The Last Call Whiskey Podcast is sponsored by Whiskey Drop Canada. Don't forget that every 2 episodes, you'll be able to order a kit through Whiskey Drop where you can taste through all of the whiskeys that we taste on this podcast. And special thanks to our friends Really Jiggered for the use of their recording of Parting Glass in this episode. We'll see you guys next time.
Good night.